Okay. Thank you. Thank you for
Yes.
coming. Welcome to
Of
this
course.
show. Yeah,
Yes,
it's
of course.
Eat with the Owner. This episode 24.
24.
Yeah.
So you've done like a lot of these then.
Yeah, 24. It's not bad. A lot of people supporting this kind of city project.
Oh, I think it's, I think it's nice. I think it's nice. It very takes off in like as we're like approaching like the age of technology and stuff.
Yeah. It's just like a lot of some small talks, like know people, and also we can talk about people's story, and also especially in Montreal. I feel like we don't have a lot of like city stories, small stories about Montreal, right? It's not.
Yeah. Well, I'm not from Montreal. I'm very new here, so.
Oh, really? That's even more interesting. So people in the experience in Montreal, the reason they come here, stay here, right? It's the attraction. Like, first of all, like, how to say your name?
Zachary Berry.
Z-A-K?
Z-A-C-H.
Oh, that kid's like the hungover, the guy, the hungover?
Yeah. Well, that's the Z-A-C-H-A-R-Y. But when it's just short form, I go by just Z-A-C.
Zach. Yeah, exactly. Okay, great. So probably Zach is easier, right?
Yeah.
Great. So like, welcome Zach. And like, where you originally come from? Like,
so I come from it's like a small town outside of Kitchener-Waterloo, which is like a small city, like an hour south of Toronto.
Yeah, Waterloo. Okay.
Yeah. So
Waterloo University, very famous.
Yes. There's a so yeah, I was born and kind of raised in New Dundee, which is like a small farm town, but we lived like kind of like there's a suburb that's like kind of like plopped right in the middle of all the farmland.
You know some farming as well?
I actually was a dairy farmer for like 3-4 years, like throughout high school and just after high school.
That's pretty cool. That's kind of experience.
Yeah, but it was more like a factory farm. It was a very large scale farm. So we had like kind of like the cows would walk onto like this rotating platform, and then we'd like hook up the milkers.
Okay.
Yeah, I used to do that before school at like 4 a.m. And then I was also a dishwasher at for like a wedding catering company. Okay. So I did that in like the evenings.
So you're all around this milk and then catering, so end up in the food business, right?
Yeah,
it's kind of everything related.
And then I moved out when I was like 18, 19, because I was like a young kid and thought I figured everything out. And then I was doing construction for like a couple years, and then I lost my job, or like they stopped paying me. It was like a weird thing.
Construction where? In
like,
Ontario?
Yeah.
Not Quebec. I guess
no.
In Quebec, the construction workers or some people they are treated better than in Ontario, right?
Because are they? I don't know. I worked for like a very small construction business. It was like it was like a 2-man crew. It wasn't very good.
Yeah, I was told the construction business in Montreal, because they have a very strong association.
Okay.
The business association, and then it's very, very well protected. So like even the bottom guys, workers, they are kind of treated well.
Oh yeah. I don't know if
they can suck a lot of money into the whole business.
I think that's maybe true for like the larger framing businesses in Ontario, but there's
not
a lot
for the
of
small ones.
Yeah, there's a lot of small ones. Yeah. So anyway, I went back to dishwashing at like it was like this like local kind of like not really upscale but kind of upscale like southern restaurant.
Okay.
And then I worked there for like 6-7 months, and I kept bugging the chef. I was like, I'm 20 years old. I don't want to do dishes.
You want to move up.
I want to cook.
Yeah.
And so then we had a sister restaurant that was it's like 60 seats, maybe even like 50 seats, if that. Like it was very small. It's like a family barbecue style, and the head chef of that place found out that the owner was going to close it, and it was the sister restaurant of the restaurant I was working at. And so basically, the owner was like, "You said you wanted to cook, go run this restaurant. You go figure it out." And if you
seriously,
and so it's like
that's a lot of trust.
Well, the thing is he was gonna close it ananyway. So he's like, if you fail at it, you come back as a dishwasher.
Not big
if you don't fail at it, then you can come back as a line cook. So I didn't know what I was doing. I like pretended like I did. I was like this like 21-year-old not even really like a cook yet, but like I worked a lot of hours and I like learned a lot of stuff. I like got my first knife and knife roll in that kitchen. Yeah, and then once it closed after like I don't know, maybe like 9 months.
Yeah.
Then I came back to the other restaurant, the Grand Trunk, as a line cook, and then I was kind of just like working there, and then that's when I decided to go to culinary school. And then so I went to culinary school.
That's in Ontario as well.
In Ontario, yeah, this is all in Ontario. I didn't move to Montreal till like this summer. Like,
really? Okay.
yeah, I'm very new here. And so I went to culinary school and also worked at the restaurant. It was a very busy time. I remember doing like 40, 50 hours and going to culinary school.
Jeez.
And it was like, I loved it, but I was also like looking back at it now, I'm like, I don't think I would do that again.
The culinary school is like it's 1 year or 2 years. Like give you the diploma.
I did the 1 year. There was I could have done the culinary management program, which was the same program but an additional year.
And
I just did the chef training program. It was 1 year. I got in, got out.
you don't have to pay the tuition too much, right? In Canada, it's almost free.
Yeah. Well, it wasn't too bad. I think it was like I think it was like $5,000 in total for the whole year. But I was very silly and I took the student loans, even though I didn't really have to. I probably could have because I was working full time. But I took the student loans and I kind of just like had fun with the student loans. So now I'm still paying back those student loans. So I kind of wish I never took the student loans, but that's whatever. I had fun. I had lots of fun. Yeah, and then I started working part time at a breakfast diner because once I was done school, I had all this free time. I was only working 50 hours, so I I was working at at a breakfast restaurant for a bit, and that was cool. And I kind of just
it's a little bit easier, right? For streamline.
No,
it's not like a scrambled egg or something.
Yeah, so I was on the omelet station. So I did like omelet pancakes and then like the home fries.
Yeah.
And I only worked like twice a week. But it's a very different intensity because it's the restaurant I worked at was like we did a lot of like braised meats and pulled pork and like a lot of plating, maybe like heat your collard greens in a pan and not too much, but at the breakfast place like you're dealing with eggs that like cook in seconds. Like it's like you have lots of things, and it was probably like 3-4 times busier too. Like it was definitely I became like I think probably that was the best thing for me as a cook was to work at a breakfast place.
Like very fast paced.
Super fast.
Super fast.
Yeah, and it's just like and everything's like so like fast paced, but also like the cooking times are very fast. Like you get an order, it's out the kitchen like 2 minutes.
Yeah.
Like it's insane. And there's like probably 6 guys online. Yeah, so I did that, and then I actually got hired at a fine dining, almost fine dining Southeast Asian restaurant.
Yeah, South Asian.
And it was an Indonesian restaurant. It was like one of the best restaurants in the city. I worked there for a whole 3 weeks before the pandemic started.
Jeez.
And so
that's not fun. Huh?
No, it was not. So because I was the newest hire, I was kind of the first to let go, which was unfortunate. But and then throughout the pandemic, I kind of worked in like it took me a while to find like my next restaurant. Like I'd work at different places.
Was there like I guess financially there's a lot of help for the people like out of work, right?
Eventually, yeah. I remember that's when I first quit smoking. Was during the pandemic. So I remember I had negative $288 in my bank account, and like rent was, and I was like not even like thinking about rent, but I was like, do I buy like this pack of ramen, or do I buy a pack of smokes? And I was like, I'm gonna buy the pack of ramen. And then eventually, the serve got caught up and stuff. But because I was in the restaurant though, all the restaurant people they were the first ones to get hit. So I had reduced hours like almost like a week before.
Especially the fine dining is almost like a kind of a completely like 100% out, like the fine dining.
Well, it was not super fine dining, but it was weird. We did our takeout. We made little swans out of like tinfoil and stuff. Like I don't know. It was an interesting place. I wish I could have worked there longer, but then also kind of looking back at it now, I'm also like, maybe it was the right time. But
and it's really tough on the money then. Like the cigarette's pretty expensive. That crazy stuff is
yeah,
it's
like $20 a pop.
Yeah, I'm super lucky. I never smoke. I don't spend any money on the cigarettes. I'm not contributing to the revenue of the government that much.
That's very fair. That's very fair. It's a very noble thing to do. But and then but I've always wanted to come to Montreal for different reasons though. So I first wanted to come to Montreal when I was like 18, 19 because I wanted to like be like kind of like a nomad. I wanted to like travel the world and like kind of live out of a backpack.
Okay.
And so I was like, I'll go to Montreal because it's like kind of like a stepping stone where it's like it's still the same country, but it's like
it's a little bit strange. Strict cousin.
Yeah, well, it's a different language. So I was kind of using it as like a stepping stone, and then when I started like cooking and like being like, okay, I'm gonna be a cook. That's what I'm gonna do. Then I was like, I'm gonna move to Montreal to make it as a cook in Montreal. And then when the pandemic hit, I was like, I don't know what I'm doing, what's going on. There's really no cooking jobs anywhere. And so my fiance, she was planning on going to McGill to do a master's in music. And then I was like, well, I'll go to Montreal, but I'm not going to be a cook in Montreal. I'm gonna be a student.
Okay.
And then so I applied to Concordia, and it was funny enough that I ended up getting into my program. She unfortunately didn't get into her program, and so we were like, "Are we still going?" And so we decided to still go. And then at this time, I'd been working at different restaurants, but I didn't really like any of the ones I was working at. They were just kind of, they thought they were good, but they weren't. Kind of deal. It was like, and there was a lot of like ego.
So this is already in the pandemic, right? During the pandemic.
This is during the pandemic, yeah. And then anyway, so then I moved to Montreal, and then I wasn't going to work. I was like, I'm going to be a student.
Yeah.
It's going to be awesome. But then I like kind of severely underestimated how expensive it is to move to a new city in a new province.
Yeah, the rent, everything.
So I quickly was like, oh well, I can work part-time as a cook. That's what I've been doing. And so I worked at this Thai restaurant, and it was supposed to be like one of the best Thai restaurants in the city, and I was very disappointed. I was very disappointed in it. And so then I remember I got
that's in Montreal, right?
This is now in Montreal, yeah. And so I remember I got really drunk one night because I was so mad. I was so mad because I was so disappointed in like where I was working because I was so excited to work at this like Thai restaurant.
When you're inside, probably you're always getting disappointed because a lot of time they always say that the best restaurant here, there.
Yeah.
I pray like if you're working our kitchen, probably you get disappointed as well. Like it's like inside.
Well, the thing I was disappointed was I was working there because I wanted to learn some of the Thai master stuff, like master sauces and like different stuff, but they bought all their sauces, and I was like,
that sucks.
So it was like, so I was like, I was working on the line, but it was like everyone that was on the line, like, they were like also students. They didn't cook, and I was like, I'm like, I went to culinary school. I have like 4 or 5 years experience, like on the line, working like 60, 70 hours, and I'm like, I can't do this. Like, it literally was like pad thai. I'm like, okay. Add my pad thai sauce, add my tofu and stuff.
Is that sometimes we do our sauces inside of the restaurant, like with the mix? I don't know how, but do they sometimes is that a secret as well? Like some chef or cooks they think it could be a secret for themselves.
I find with cooks there's a lot less secrecy. Okay. But I find with bakers, they're very secretive. They're very you won't find out a baker's recipe unless you're kind of like working under them, and even then it's like
Unless you want to publish a book.
Yeah, but I find cooks are very like
Okay.
because cooking has so many steps and so many like there's so. I'm kind of biased because I don't really like baking.
Yeah.
But baking is very precise and it's very like at this temperature with this amount and this amount. And this time and this and it's the same every time.
Yeah.
But with cooking, it's like get a hot pan. It's like your recipe changes depending on how hot that pan is, how hot that oil is. Like it's a lot of cooking is a lot more of a feel. And so that's why like a lot of chefs are like, yeah, sure, you can have my recipe, but like good luck cooking it. But I remember
if you are careful enough, you can copy though. If you
for sure,
some people
for sure. But I remember I got so angry and I got like very drunk that night. I sent a 3 a.m. text to the head chef of Garman Jay, and I was like, I want to work for you, like hello chef, like whatever. And then I got an email back like the next morning was like come in for an interview, and I was like, oh.
Okay.
Really? Like,
how do you get the number? Text number.
I just looked it up on. I looked it up on the website. It was like contact us for a reservation.
Seriously.
It was like contact us for a reservation. And I was like, I don't need a reservation. I want to work for you. But I ended up getting an email back like the next morning, and so then I went and I did the interview, and then I did my stage, which is like we worked do a working interview, and then I got hired. So I'm like. So now it's been like, I've been kind of like, since I've been at Garde though, I've been kind of have this turmoil where I'm like, because I'm also still in school. So I work at Garde like 3 to 4 times a week. And then I'm also like in school. So I'm always like, I get this kind of disconnect where I'm like, I'm not quite a cook, but I'm also not quite a student. I'm kind of like
what do you study in the school?
I study interdisciplinary studies in sexuality, and then I'm also minoring in society and law.
That's very different from cooking, right?
Very different from cooking, yes. I kind of want to. I have very different paths, but I don't know how they're gonna pan out yet.
Yeah.
I just know that I want to have like lots of options for myself. But right now, kind of the main plan in the next like 10 years is I'd love to open up my own kind of like. Collective restaurant where it's kind of like worker owned and serve like very like affordable food but also like very kind of upscale, maybe like 3 nights a week, but then the other like kind of 5 days it's like kind of like a coffee shop, kind of like community center place.
That's right now it's collective owned. Right now it's kind of a trend. It's starting, right?
Well, I think it's less of a trend, and a lot of people are just kind of like realizing that. So there's a lot of people in power that don't know what they're doing, and they receive all the benefits, and it's a lot of, especially with the age of technology and like there's so much information everywhere, and that it's like people are starting to realize that like a lot of people are full of crap, and it's a lot of people have this mentality of like, oh, I got to do this, and then I'll hire these people at this like kind of fixed rate, but and a lot of people, I worked at a restaurant where it was like we barely saw the owner, maybe like once a week, and he'd come in and like this owner was like had a history in like fine dining, like he was a chef, and then kind of like as soon as he kind of became owner, he was like.
Not doing anymore.
Well, I don't know what he was doing. I'm sure there's some behind the scenes in case he's watching it a lot. I still want to be in his good books, but I'm sure there's lots of things like kind of behind the scenes what he's doing. But it was like the more I was there, and I was at this restaurant for like 3 years, and it was like I know that it was like the front of house manager and the chef. Like between those two, they were running the restaurant. Like the restaurant was very self-sufficient, and so I was like. But of course, like, and so it's like, and you see this across the board, and like whatever industry or whatever.
But that's like kind of that's establishment is established the model already, because you have the chef running the back and then some manager in the front. The owner doesn't have to be there, or owner could be. I don't know, but like that's kind of the successful model already. Like the chef take up like in charge of the whole kitchen.
Yeah, I know. I just want a place that's like. It's kind of just like. Well, I also found like people would work harder and people would like have put out better
More
food
incentives.
if they're like, I get like I have a portion of this.
Yeah,
This is,
exactly.
like
the
it's like
incentive, the part of the ownership.
Well, I remember when I was I worked at this landscaping job very briefly during the pandemic when I was in between kind of kitchen jobs, and it was I would see, because I was the supervisor, I would see the prices for these jobs, and I'm like, we're doing like $3-4 grand a day, like in jobs, but like I was getting paid, I think like $19 an hour, and like the other laborers are getting paid like $15-16 an hour.
It's huge margin, right?
Well, it's like they worked that way. Like they worked at $16. You know what I mean? Like, and if it was, I can only imagine that like if it was like if they even if they had like a day rate where it's like I want you to get this done,
$200
and $200, because that's what I make at Garde. It's like I show up, like I could show up at 2 p.m. I could show up at 10 a.m. I just have to get my prep list done and I have to do service, and I get a day rate. So there's some days I come in at 10, and some days I come in at 2. It depends on what, I'm in control. But when you tell someone, it's like, when this is a fluid number, but then you get like these kind of fixed numbers, I don't find that really works very well. It's very disconnected, and I want people to have like kind of like pride in what they do, and it's like I'm not doing this because it's my job. It's like I'm doing this because like I'm a part of this, and it's.
But the only issue, the only issue with the co-ownership, even like the partners right now, I've been like having this restaurant for 8 years, but a lot of times I will think about to bring a partner or even partner with the chef, the cooks. But the problem always like even like you have only 2 partners for business. A lot of time they have arguments. A lot of time they have the fights, whatever the misunderstanding or miscommunication. Some they thought a lot of them end up like a really bad relationship. Like, and also on the co-ownership, if you bring more than 3, for example, 6 employees, 6 on like split 100% share and then 100% to split by 6. But the problem is the paperwork or everything, who's making decisions, that could be a very, very tricky as well.
Yeah.
Because all the kitchen is small things, not big decision. A lot of time it's small daily things, like you have.
Oh, for sure.
You do this or you do that, or like who's preparing what, and then like some people say maybe why I'm doing this? Why always I do this kind of stuff? Why don't you start doing this? It's all the small things, small kind of. That's all the kind of fractions coming from, I guess.
Well, for sure. I mean, of course, it wouldn't be like an even split. Like there would be like some sort of like a hierarchy, for sure.
But some people would have thought they contributed too much, or over time the contribution already changed. So at the beginning, I contribute a little bit at the beginning. I know I'm new to this, but then after 6 months, I suppose I deserve much more because in reality maybe he improved a lot. He's really good at things. Some people is a quick learner. Yeah, and it's really good at that thing, and then like you have to change the share, whatever. Like that has to go through, like all out of the legal paperwork, and also with all the other people, they have to agree first, right? So that could be challenging as well. So I'm really worried about this kind of. Even I don't like for us, for the restaurant owners, I guess a lot of times even the good restaurant, like some good, they still have some share to the key people, right? I guess that's very common, but that's the thing I worry about. The one paperwork. Another thing is like sometimes like people like they may have create the misunderstanding to end up ruining kind of the relationship already. And like when I take full responsibility financially as the sole owner, so I treat them financially fairly or whatever, and then it's more clean cut. Yeah. So if they say, oh, you are the bad owner, so they probably find another job. So at least it's clean. So you end up payroll, and that's all. Yeah. And otherwise, you have to say, okay, I don't want to sell my share, and I have to have they say like we have different owners, different shares. They can have majority of the
Well,
voting.
it is much harder, when you're in like a for-profit business model, right? But like the thing that I'm talking about is like I don't want it to be for profit. Like I'd rather I want it to be like break even.
Okay.
And then like
it's just taking the salary, whatever.
Yeah, like break even and like whatever kind of is extra will like put aside to like either like put it towards like this charity or this thing or this community thing. I want to be like very like because I don't really care. I just want to be like I want to look after myself and I want to look after like the people around me. But like at the essence of it, it's like I want to have and to kind of like build like the greatest place where it's like you can come in here, you can get like
that looks like reasonable. That sounds like a reasonable path to success because that's the passion. If you have the passion,
be a passion project.
Yeah, exactly.
For sure.
Exactly. That's a lot of time. If you look only for profit, so sometimes you need to cut corners. You have to calculate the profit, and you don't end up making a good product or services.
Well, and that's the thing, and it's like I'm not even close to ready to be pursuing that. I need to learn still a lot more in the industry. I need to like build a team as well. I have a few people that I've been talking to that they're like kind of down. They're kind of like give me the call like when it is. But everyone who I hire is going to be like extremely good. Okay. Like I'll be very like kind of rigorous and we're be like very strict of like this is how we do things. Like this is the standard in which we meet. And it's like they also kind of I'll be very upfront with like the business model. It's like this isn't like your wage. Your wage you will always make at least minimum wage.
Yeah, exactly.
You will always at least make that. But it's like you won't have a regular paycheck. Like if we're busier, you'll get me more money. Okay. And if we're not busier, then you won't get more money. Like we like the kitchen cost or the food cost is incorporated into like the staffing cost.
Yeah.
And it's like this is what we're doing. This is our mission. This is kind of like the vibe. Like we're not here to like kind of like make a profit. We're here to like create an environment. We like, and it won't be as successful because it's like
and also an open kitchen probably you can showcase.
I love to be an open kitchen.
Yeah, exactly.
It'd be so good.
Yeah, exactly.
I know how much fun we have at Garde. Our kitchen is very open. It's smack dab in the middle. And the nice thing about working at Garde is because
the Garde, how to spell
Garman Jay. It's Garde. And then
that's like French cake, right?
Yeah, and then Manger. It's
Garman Jay.
Garman Jay, yeah. So it's Chuck Hughes' restaurant. So Chuck Hughes is a celebrity chef. He do you know Iron Chef?
Yeah.
So he beat Bobby Flay in Iron
Really?
Chef. Yeah.
Seriously?
Yeah.
Bobby Flay was so good. There's another Japanese guy, right?
Morimoto, yeah.
Yeah, Morimoto.
Yeah, no, he beat Bobby Flay with lobster poutine. And that's kind of how he made his kind of claim to fame.
Wow,
and so he runs and owns Garde Manger where I work. But the nice thing about working there is it's an open kitchen, and people come here. Yes, they come here for the food, of course, but they don't come here for like, oh, we're gonna go to a nice restaurant. They're like, we're gonna go to Chuck Hughes' place. We're gonna go to Garman Jay. So it's like we have this energy in the kitchen. We're like we sing songs. We're like online. We
That's
like
amazing.
we sing. We like are very loud.
Seriously?
We're obnoxious. We take like the people buy us shots and stuff. It's very much like we are center stage and we are performing and also cooking. And it's like it's such a cool experience to be like a part of when it's like people.
I never heard of that. But
and it's
maybe
like
I'm so close to the Chinese cuisine.
Yeah, you're like I'll be like 5 tickets deep. I'll be like trying to like plate my salad or whatever, and they'll be like the maitre d' will be like, oh, this person wants a picture, and we'll all be like, hey, like.
Hey, could you put your microphone a little bit outside? Probably it will.
Does it fall?
Yeah, I guess put it outside so the clothes won't touch. I guess you may have the noise. Let me check the audio. That's amazing, you guys.
Oh no, open and ruin it. There, that better?
Yeah, it's better outside. So otherwise your clothes can. That's amazing. So this is the first time I step outside of the Chinese cooking.
So it's like we specialize in like seafood and like kind of like French inspired, but it's like we have like a rotating menu, which kind of changes like once every like 3 weeks or so, maybe a little bit more.
I guess the higher end you go, the easier, I guess, sometimes, because you can you have little bit saying power. Like you can have, okay, this is my menu, our ingredients.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah,
for sure.
It's easier.
Well, it's also like, another nice thing about Garde is like, because we have stages, and because it's a very high level kitchen where, if you're there, it's because you deserve to be there, and if you're not, like, you're out. And so with that comes like a lot of autonomy, where it's like, the plating is like, yeah, we plate things a certain way, but it's also like we have a lot of freedom to plate things. Like there's sometimes, I'm feeling like, oh, I want to give this like a little bit of height. That's cool. Sometimes I want to like do a little negative space. Like it's very, as long as it looks very nice, and we have a lot of autonomy in it.
That's amazing.
Yeah, that's very nice.
But do they talk to you, the customer, because you're
all the time.
But
we're open.
I assume you don't speak much French, right?
No, but no one speaks French at
Be careful saying that. The government will say, the CEO of Air Canada saying he's staying in Montreal for 14 years without speaking French. We got huge trouble.
Oh no! I just mean no one speaks French like in the kitchen.
Yeah.
Like we're
fine. We're tiny fish, but
no, just in the kitchen.
But even the customer,
the customers speak French. Yeah, they all speak French. I'm trying to learn French. I would love to. I would love to learn French.
Your French will be a little bit better than me, because I guess your English is first language. Your French.
I only speak English. I know English. I know ni hao, ni sei shou, in you
Yeah.
and that's it.
That's amazing. Oh yeah.
What are we doing?
We need to order something to. We don't have to wait too long, so we order now.
Okay. Yeah.
That's amazing. Yeah. I don't know this kind of kitchen there. It's kind of.
It's cool. I would totally check it out. I
will.
Do a reservation. But no, it's a really cool place. It's very high intensity. Between like kind of 5 and 7, it's very, kind of low key, very kind of formal. But then like kind of like once you get to like kind of like 8 and past, the music kind of turns up a bit.
Okay.
The kitchen starts kind of singing more.
That's why I'm really open. I had my idea about my own restaurant.
Mm-hmm.
The best scenario for my restaurant would be like, I always kind of dream too far, but
okay.
like it's kind of the ideal scenario would be like we have 2 floors, it's too big. Mm-hmm. Like I stay in the front all the time, talking to people, and I serve them, talking to people. That would be my feature or my best scenario for me.
That would be so cool, because you could
I talk to people. That's all.
You could talk to people, but you could also have like little like amuse bouche or something. Like you could be like little one bites or different things, or you like, I don't know what you would do, but it's like you could do like I don't know, you can do anything, but it's like or little taste testings of like different drinks. Like you could have like different Chinese beers or whatever, and be like there'll be like little shooters, like this much.
Chinese liquor that's strong, 53%.
Oh,
53% of Chinese liquor, and also mainly it's for like a social place for me. I want to be a social place, so like that's why I'm learning French. I speeding up, the learning of self-learning French.
Okay.
So like I speak Mandarin, I speak English. Okay, if I can speak the French, the level of my English, so it would be amazing. So I can talk to different people. Like if you have fun, I can tell jokes if you like and make people happy, and then that would be amazing. So that would be the kind of final version, the ultimate version of our restaurant.
Well, for sure. And the thing is I think the most important thing about the hospitality, having like a restaurant, is being so confident in what you're doing. Is that you're dictating kind of like the vibe that's being set, and like making contact. I know like all the services,
and also make people happy.
Make people happy, yes, for sure. That's the most important.
Yeah, if I cannot make you happy, let's have it free. So the whole meal is free, and you're not mad, and you will be happy. It's kind of make people happy. That's the idea.
Yeah.
And at the same time, if people are happy, probably will end up making some money, right? So that's the idea of business in the restaurant.
That's true. That's true.
It's crazy.
All right, what do we do in here?
Yeah, we can order some. It's kind of this video thing.
I
like
really
it's like
love-
all you can eat.
I really loved the twice cooked pork. That was so good when I tried it. And then I also really loved I'm thinking more something that's similar to.
We can have 3 or 4. To be honest, it's
3
all
or
you can
4.
eat. Yeah, it's we have sake here to drink, so it's more like eating than talking.
That's okay with me. I really love this Szechuan spicy pot.
Okay, let's do that. Yeah.
Well, we could do something, but I had that though. Maybe we could do something like that.
Yeah. Now, do you have tried the spicy diced chicken? Spicy. This one is dry, but it's very spicy with the Sichuan peppercorn, the numbness.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, it's a lot of bones. We can try
Let's
this.
try that one.
We can.
I'm sure there's lots of rice though. We should get the twice cooked pork though.
Yeah, we still have that one. So
Okay,
2 already.
And then up to you now.
Let's take some. The tofu. Let's do the tofu.
Okay, I'm down.
Tofu and then green beans. Okay, we get 4.
There we go.
Okay, let me write this down. Twice cooked pork and spicy diced chicken. This one bones a little bit noisy when you eat it. It's not pretty.
I'm gonna get 3 rices.
3. Okay, that should be good.
Gorgeous.
Yeah. At the same time, I'm gonna run downstairs, give the order to the waitress, and then it's gonna keep going. The video. I'm gonna really quick.
Okay. What do you call a boomerang that doesn't come back? A stick.
So,
That was very fast.
yeah, I run.
I know. I thought I was gonna start telling jokes. I was like.
So this cup, like every guest on the show, if they like drinking coffee, they can have one. So you can
Oh my
take
god!
home.
I would love a cup.
Yeah, you can take home.
Oh,
So white porcelain is high end, $50 each though.
oh my god!
Yeah, it's I ordered in Quebec. It's
Oh my
white
gosh.
porcelain. It's
I love it. I love it.
semi-translucent.
I
If
love
you
it so
put
much.
it to the light, you can see through sometimes.
Really?
It's very thin. It's really pretty.
Wow. No, I love the shape of it.
I ordered the 50 of them. It's what is that? Muscat. On the bottom, you see the.
Oh.
You Google it. They are the only porcelain studio in whole Canada. Yeah, they are the only
Ooh.
porcelain studio
That's so cool.
because all this pottery, porcelain,
Mm-hmm.
because the mass production, they all move out of Canada.
Yes.
They're in China,
Yeah.
India. So they are the only one. It's a studio, 1 hour drive from here.
Now,
It's
do
like-
they do them by hand? I don't know how
Yeah.
porcelain works. 'Cause
Yeah.
I took my fiance and I we took like a pottery class.
Okay.
Not very good at it. We did make I was trying to make a shot glass, but someone said it looked more like a sake glass. But it was very hard. It's very hard to do. We did
This
the
is
spinning
amazing.
wheel.
It's like a form of art. It's
Yeah.
like I went to the studio, like outside of Quebec.
Mhm.
It's kind of like try to support local business.
Yes,
I had
for
a
sure.
souvenir, so like I ordered the 50. Minimum you have to order 50
Mm-hmm.
because they design, they do the logo,
Yeah.
and it's
What's the porcelain made out of? Like, what does it look
it's a
like when
powder in front. They bags of like powder.
What
Some
kind of powder though? Like what? I have
looks
no idea what
great.
it is.
And when I saw them pour, they pour that mix like there's 2 guys working there. They pour that like into the mold. It's like so gray. It's gray, moody, but muddy.
And then when they fire, it turns this like.
Yeah, there's a high power. It's like cave little thing, like
Yeah,
not
yeah,
so
yeah.
big, but then you put the whole shelf inside,
Yeah.
and it's super high temperature.
Yeah. It's like a kiln.
Yeah, it's crazy. I shot a video for them, try to promote their business. It's an old lady, and then somehow lost that main part of the video somehow.
Oh no! Garde Manger.
That's she's old already. She's probably gonna retire in a few years.
Okay.
She's not. She told me she's not planning to pass it to, because apprentices showed up before, like they were not too serious, because it takes a lot of techniques. You have to be really focused, dedication to all these details. Look at this crazy. It's like the lady.
Now, how do they do the logo that they?
I just sent her a high definition of that picture. Somehow it's magic. Like it's look at the details. It's kind of so smooth. It's really, when I saw the product, I really surprised.
They were like,
I spoke with her over the phone when I went there to pick up 50 mugs. Like when I saw this final product, it's really amazing. Like,
yeah, because I've seen videos of like kind of like the Chinese like pot makers where they have this very long brush and they do like the Chinese characters.
Okay.
But it's like they go it down, but the brush is kind of angled like this, and they like go into the cups and they kind of like, and that's like insane. You're like watching it and you're like, how long did that take you? How long did that take you to get to that level?
Yeah, I only ordered the 50 because it's kind of too expensive, and we're a small restaurant. So actually, the reason I got this because like last year, 2021, we got reported a lot of media. The kind of we just suddenly got a lot more customers during the pandemic. In the deep of the pandemic, we got boosted by a lot of. I was interviewed by New York Times. Montreal Gazette, it's downstairs. We took picture. There you go. The newspaper. So that's why the sales went up a lot. So that time I feel like we kind of feel comfortable.
I get some nice mugs.
We get some souvenirs for our customers, but I definitely did not want to go some cheap options. You just give somebody with your logo and then they don't use it ever, or they collect dust. So I want to have something lasting long. That's why even some people, like some guys, they on the show, I ask them, do you drink coffee a lot? Because this is more for coffee.
I actually collect mugs. I have like probably like 20, 25 mugs. Yeah.
That's so cool. A lot of different designs.
Yeah, because they're so different. I know. I usually have like depending on like kind of what my mood is, I'll stand in front of like my mugs and be like,
pick one.
Do I want this
pick
one?
Pick me.
Or this one? And I'm like, I'll decide between the two, and I'll be like, I'll go with you today.
So actually, now you have on that.
Oh, that's so awesome! Thank you so much.
That with the Chinese character. This series is on that. There's two. The dai we put at the beginning, so the family name.
Okay.
And then the Ai means aunt. On that.
Gorgeous.
It's amazing. So this is the first time I have on the video to have somebody in the food business.
Yeah.
It's really amazing.
Well, I don't know if I'm royalty or anything, but I don't know if I'm super special, but I appreciate it.
But it's amazing. You kind of, for me, I don't know how to cook, but I've been exposed to the kitchen stuff for like 2 years for the pandemic. Before the first 6 years, I had my full IT job, so I only some days because I have a baby, I have a kid, very young kid.
Congratulations!
So she's 9. She's 9.
Oh, jeez.
So when that's why it's so stupid for me to open a restaurant 8 years ago, because our baby daughter, she was only 1 years old.
You're busy. You're a busy person. You're too busy.
and then I had my full-time job. My wife, was taking her baby, and then she wanted to have a restaurant. She wanted a business actually. And at the beginning, I guess that's why I'm saying still a kind of a mistake to have a restaurant, because first of all, I don't know how to cook. I'm not. I did not have passion for cooking, to be honest. My favorite food is Subway sandwiches.
Okay.
Simple, healthy, and easy. I like eat out of McDonald's. Steak is my favorite food as well. Steak,
okay.
Yeah. So Chinese food is not I eat them all my life. So I can safely say if I don't eat them a lot, the second half of my life, I'm totally okay with it. So it's kind of at the beginning for this opening restaurant, like having a small in the Culinary area. It's very small.
That's where I live.
Yeah. Oh, Culinary.
Yeah, I live in Culinary.
Yeah,
I live on the top of Ridgewood, like at the very top of the hill.
Okay. Our first restaurant was 55, 57. It's like near, very close to Jewish hospital. Very close,
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Like 2 blocks above.
Yeah, I don't know any of the areas too well yet.
But it's like a small budget, very, very bad restaurant. We took over very small, 46, but the whole building was crap. It was really bad. And then after 4 years, we were lucky to have a good cook, good chef. So for the first 4 years was amazing. The first year was really.
What was
bad.
your like? How did you first find like your first like chef?
Online?
Online. It was just like
Chinese.
and it worked out.
It's amazing. So it's we have Chinese language, the local PBS.
Okay.
PBS thing. So I just posted like I need a Chinese cooking chef, like a cook, really good cook, and want to start a small restaurant, really small. And then I found this guy. We just talk. I explained him my idea. Just do a traditional, authentic dishes. Not so many, maybe only 10. My idea was always
that's the way to go.
Yeah.
That's the way to go, honestly.
Yeah. So my idea was to have a small restaurant, talking to people and have atmosphere, good atmosphere. But the problem is like I explained, I want to authentic. But then when we really go into the details, and then my wife, also the chef, everybody said you cannot have only twice cooked pork and spicy diced chicken, braised pork belly, all this. You are in the culinary area, you will be dead for the business. So they forced me to add genital chicken and orange beef. Those we even have the
white people favorites.
Yeah, it's kind of the local popular. So actually they were right, I guess so. And we had at the beginning a black pepper something. It's just vegetables with black pepper sauce and then chicken, beef or shrimp, whatever, put it there. But it was those kind of stuff, and red curry as well, red curry. And we removed them too. After we moved here, we decided to cut down the menu. I remove those kind of genital chicken we just cannot afford to cut. It's so popular. So those kind of vegetable, a lot of vegetable, it's watery. When the vegetable is over the heat, it's kind of water come out, and it's watery and it's saggy. So especially for the takeout, it's really bad. So we decided to cut a lot of them. So at the beginning, I really, my idea was too kind of straightforward, like to have those several authentic dishes, but it will end up being total failure as well. So they forced me to add a little bit genital, a little bit there. So even though we start very slow, really bad, first year really bad, but the second, third, fourth year was great. And it was sales, we got a lot of customers, and then it went really well. So the rent was low, the cost was low. So I guess we made some money but then the fire started. There's one fire destroyed the whole building.
Yeah, that's you. You're telling me that the other day.
Crazy. So this is not my first choice ever. This location is too big for us. That's why I made the second floor like social club. Like we call club on that. Literally before, like we moved here end of last day of 2017. So the 2018 we can count like 2018. So 2 years we've been here 2 years before the pandemic. For 2 years, and we had the club on that. Like I work in IT as a Chinese immigrant. I moved here 16 years ago. So I kind of have people coming here and we can practice French, English, or like
yay!
This stove is hot. For me, restaurant always a social place.
Yes,
to meet people, meet friends, family, and that's why I had the club thing, and especially like learn French, English. Also the workplace experience sharing. So people come here share their experience, like workplace, like how to get promoted, how to raise salary, how to learn a new skill, like especially in the IT field. A lot of stuff. It's crazy. It's every day changing.
so excited. Yeah, I've never had sake before. I've seen
You are-
it. I've seen
you are
it so
in-
many times.
You
And
are
I'm
in
like,
this business.
I know. I just
Cheers.
I don't know.
Welcome. Cheers. It's very
It's
light.
it's way lighter than I thought it was gonna be.
Yeah, exactly. That's why it's so popular.
Yeah.
If it's so burning, I guess a lot of people won't even try.
Yeah. Well,
I guess that's like we
no,
always
it's very nice. It almost tastes like gin.
it's very light.
Yeah.
That's why sometimes I overthink. I think about like why
What percentage is it?
it's 13, 15.
Oh,
Yeah.
so it's like wine.
Yeah, 15, yeah. But it's made of rice. That's why I sometimes think why sake is so popular in the world. So popular. I guess because it's more acceptable. But
Yeah.
Chinese liquor, 53%.
It's crazy.
And the high end, it's like the bottle. Chinese liquor always 500 millimeter. So this is 720.
Okay.
So a little bit smaller, but sometimes you can have $500 a bottle. $500 US.
Yikes.
It's a multi and most recognized brand in China. It's super expensive. And if the Chinese New Year, if you meet a superior or the generation older than you, you have to bring a good or 2 bottles of the high end. It costs a lot of money. It's stressful. It's really stressful if you go to visit like a senior relatives. It's really super stressful. Because sometimes you have to bring those kind of gifts.
Yeah. Oh. See, this spinning table is the best.
Yeah,
Honestly, it's
I don't know why it's called lazy Susan. Is Susan always lazy?
I don't know, honestly. That's a good question. Okay, I'm gonna go for
Why
this.
not Emily
I'm gonna go for
lazy?
this tofu. Oh, it's just good. I find a lot of times sharing food can be very cumbersome, like very awkward.
Do you like comedy?
I love comedy. Who doesn't like comedy?
But do you try to try some one day? To
Like
tell
me
some
be a
jokes?
comic?
Yeah.
Oh no, I don't think I could. I would be too awkward. I'm a very socially awkward person.
By being awkward could be good at that thing too.
It could be my shtick.
Yeah, exactly. Do you mind how old you are? Like this year? No.
In the summer I'll be turning 26. I'm 25 right now.
That's super young.
Very young, yes.
I'm 42.
There you go.
Actually, at 26, I made my biggest move in my life.
What was that?
Immigrate to Canada. When I was
Oh.
26 years old.
Oh, crazy. Yeah, I'm assuming you don't regret it.
No, it's great. I spent a lot of time learning English, and so I was working IT as an engineer. So, speak English, know some technology. I guess you can survive anywhere. People hire you in some technical stuff.
Oh man, the tofu is so soft.
That's why I try this a little bit light to balance this kind of little bit greasy.
Yeah. Oh, I like it. It's very nice.
But as after the high school, as a young kid, like 18, what was your plan? Because it's kind of, I generally speaking, I find like a lot of young people, they're really kind of taking a lot of risks. So,
Well, it's a little bit of a weird question
for me, it's safe. For like a lot of my kind of friends, they take the very safe approach. The safe approach means you can foresee, you can know what will be in front of you. Like 4 years university education, get a bachelor degree with a okay major, popular major, so you can find an office job, have a weekly paycheck, have a family, have kids, and their kids go to college, university, and their kid get married.
I never took that approach. I never actually planned on going to school at all.
But what was the? That's the thing I don't. That's the culture difference, I guess, because that's why I want to like have one part of the reason for this interviews video. I want to know more people like what their mentality, their mindset of the overall like risk of your life, right? In your life, tons of risks. You make different decisions leading you to different life, different kind of lifestyle. So
well, when I was 18, so I'm a little bit weird because I was I wrestled at a very high level.
To wrestle.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I wrestled.
Jiu-Jitsu?
Pardon?
Jiu-Jitsu? What is
no,
it?
no, that is.
Jiu-Jitsu is Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu.
Oh, Jiu-Jitsu. Oh, no. No, I did like Olympic style wrestling. I wrestled on like Team Ontario and stuff like that. Like I was.
Seriously?
Yeah, I was like
pretty good.
I was always very good. I was never ever the best. So I always got like second or third at nationals. Yeah. I never. But I was planning on continuing like with that, and I was planning on going to university just to wrestle. And then I got injured, and I kind of also like wasn't doing as well. I was good, but I wasn't like that good. So I kind of like.
How do you surrender? Tap as well? You tap?
No, you don't tap. It's
wrestling.
You win by points
Points
or like
win by points.
Or if your back touches the mat for.
Oh, normally there's not much injury, right? They're not.
Always lots of injuries. Well, the higher level you get, the more injuries you get. But
wrestling is not so cool anymore. They like judo, they like taekwondo, or like the.
I think Muay Thai is like really coming in. I think Muay Thai is becoming very popular.
Muay Thai is so brutal, man. That's crazy. It's a Thai style, right? Muay Thai, they use elbow, knee.
Yeah, it's the art of 8 limbs. But I remember when I was 18, though, my plan was to save money. I was planning on saving $25,000. I was going to rent some farmland from my friend because my friend comes from a family farm. I was going to rent some farmland.
I'm due already. Agreement.
Yeah. I was going to build a tiny house and have it there and travel the world. And that was just like what I was going to do. I was just going to like live out of a backpack. And then during the winter or whatever, or during the summer, I would come back and live in my little tiny house. And then as soon as kind of like fall hit, I would leave and go travel Southeast Asia. That was the plan.
But how about your parents? Did they influence you? Did they? Because for me, I'm a parent now. It's kind of I have to, we as a parent, we plan too much for our kid.
Yeah.
But do they influence you like?
I think my parents were always very, not hands off, but they were always very supportive of like being independent and kind of being like, you do you. They were, my mom was like, did the classic, like she went to university, she became a teacher. My dad was an electrician, like he worked in the trades. So I had a very like.
Oh, that's pretty good. Like both of them very good professionals.
Yeah. No, I was very fortunate coming up. I was a bit of a lot to handle. I had a lot of behavioral issues, but other than that, I had a very like fairly normal kind of like middle class upbringing. But I don't know like what it was that why I was like had this kind of urge to like kind of like leave and like do my own thing because I don't feel that as much now. Like I still love to travel and I usually do like.
But they did not plan your career or like what school you go.
No, they're like
even your high school,
Well, I went to public school, so it was like predetermined based on where I lived.
They did not say like probably in this area public school not so good. Let's move to another private school. They did not.
No.
That's interesting.
They were very busy.
Their own stuff.
With their own stuff, yeah.
That's interesting.
I'm so excited. This is crispier than I thought it was going to be.
Yeah, it's like a KFC.
There's bones here. Do I eat it with my fingers or no?
It's up to you. But this one is not go down well with the rice, It's just like a snack.
Oh, it's so good though. But yeah, It definitely has that numbness from the Szechuan.
That's why I have
Oh,
videos.
that's very good.
That's why I love it. This is one of my favorites. But like that's why I have the video to explain. A lot of customers, they when they get this, they will be really mad. Some of them really mad. They have bones. They have nothing to meat, less meat, and then dry. You cannot eat anything with it because you cannot eat like a bowl of rice with it because it's super dry, right?
Yeah.
But people,
I like it though.
Yeah.
It's got that heat.
Yeah,
it's not overpowering. It's very like it has a little bit of the frontal heat, but a lot of it's on that back.
Yeah, it's actually the red chili, the dry chili is from Thailand though. We found it's very interesting. They have this great like the dry chili.
Are they orbles?
What is that called?
Is that what they look like orbles, or like orble chilies. I don't know how to pronounce it. It's like AROBLE, something like that.
We have that. It's very tiny, small. Like it's in our theory, kind of the tinier the smaller, the hotter. Yeah, it's kind of like a chihuahua, can, like really can bark loud. You know.
Oh, it's good though. It's very.
That's my favorite. One of my.
Oh yeah.
No. One time, real story. Some people ordered some food like over Uber Eats or something. Driver did not show up or something. The issues. They ordered like this one. At night, I drove home. I was eating it in my car. It's a snack. It's a snack. Sometimes they order and then either the driver issue or whatever issue, they did not show up to pick up the food.
Maybe you were eating on the way to deliver it to them. I was like, what?
No, going home. Like
I see.
I had a lot of that kind of food. Like sometimes, like whatever issues with the delivery platforms, like order just not being picked up. So end up like we don't want to waste the food, and I bring home like I eat them. Sometimes do not feel like eating, but somehow I eat them anyway. That's very interesting. The parents, like a lot of my friends being parents already, so we plan to get the kids to a really good school. What they learn, that's kind of, but they are not independent. They don't. That's a trade-off, whatever. And you don't want to. You always want. They want to arrange. They want to plan for the kids. Even myself, like my wife, I'm more relaxed on this education thing or the career planning. She's only 9. My daughter is only 9. I think.
Yeah. Well, I find like, especially like kind of like it's very different. I think from my generation versus your generation, where it's like I grew up with the internet. I grew up knowing that like. I didn't have to have someone tell me I can do anything. Like, I could see it. Like, I grew up watching people be like, I didn't know you could make money off that. Like, that's crazy. So it's like, so to have, like, the information is there. And the thing is like, as much as you want, you have this kind of way of thinking of like, go to a good school, go do this, go do this, go do this, The reality of it is that majority of people are doing that, and now we're getting to the point where it's like a university doesn't guarantee an ROI. Like it doesn't guarantee a return on investment. Like it really, you know what I mean? It's like, and so it's like you have this lot of people that are like going into like $100,000 in debt, and they leave, and they're like, okay, now what? And they're like working at Starbucks, and they're like, man, I wish I had it just like, and they're really like figuring out that like there's a lot of things you can do that just from like networking more. Like I'm more in school to like for networking and stuff and trying to find like, and also I want to have that kind of like the academic activism background, so that when I do open up my like not-for-profit, I can be like, oh, I have a background in activism, like I'm aware of these social issues, like and I'm very much more like kind of articulate on like the kind of things like that I want to get out of. And that's why I'm in school. I'm not in school to get a job, like because I'll be very disappointed if I was. You know? And so I find we're just in a different generation, and it's I think we're starting to see some parents now becoming to like kind of like understand that. And you really just can't put your kids into boxes anymore, because what will happen is they'll just end up resenting. Or they'll, even worse, they'll listen to you, and then they'll become so dependent. And when it's time to be on their own, they'll be like, well, what do I do now? Why? Well, what am I supposed to do? What's the right thing to do? And it's like, they don't have that kind of like that independence.
Where sometimes do you feel like do you worry about the uncertainty? Like,
oh my God, all the time. All the time. I have no idea what I'm doing. I have no idea what I'm doing. I'm just like floating on this rock through space. Like, and who does know what's going on? You know what I mean? We can get all like cynical and nihilist about it, but I find like when I start to get stressed out about the uncertainty, I really start to be like, pull myself back and be like, what even are we doing here? Like what are we doing here? Like we're just like we like live and breathe and have sex and like
even uncertainty. Even I'm 42, I still kind of feel like uncertainty sometimes will catch me.
Mm-hmm.
Give me
it's
some
a powerful thought.
Yeah,
it's a powerful feeling.
It's kind of give me some minutes of panicking or uneasy.
For sure. Okay, I'm gonna try these beans now. This is deadly.
It's good. That's why it's so popular. I bet SAQ sells tons of this brand. This brand is
Is that the good brand? What is it?
It's what is that? Haku Churu. But this one is not the best because it's most popular. It's the price is really great. And there's some small tiny bottles they sell like the twice the the thing.
But is it that much better though?
I don't know. I even don't want to try it, to be honest. It's too expensive.
This kind of reminds me of my best friend. I came to he lives in Ontario, and I came to visit him, and he introduced me to this bottle of vodka that was it was like bison grass vodka, and it was super floral. It was super floral. It reminded me a lot like this. It had a little bit more of a bite to it, but I remember that was like first thing I did when I came back here. I went to the SAQ and I was like, I need to look for this bison grass vodka. And it's very good. It reminds me of this very floral and kind of deceptively light, but
it's really interesting. Japanese Japanese people, they do things really amazing. Like their thing in China almost disappeared. Okay. But it originated in China. All this the rice cooking, rice wine. It's called rice wine. Literally, like Japanese, Chinese character the same. It's Japanese, but we say it's rice wine. We used to different region of China. Okay. In the old time, like 500 years ago, or 1,000 years ago, the people, they make a lot of this kind of low alcohol, like more acceptable, like easy
drinking.
Easy drink. A lot of them, but it's not mainstream anymore. Right now, you can still in Shanghai area, like the Zhejiang area, you can still find people cooking this kind of. You still some of them even with the grains of rice within the drink. So it's amazing. It's very easy to drink, but they're not mainstream anymore. The people always went to like all the way to the 53%. It's kind of a interest because in the old time, those grains are so precious. People are starving, hungry. Yeah. So when you make this kind of level, I guess it took a little bit less. And then they just concentrate. They still again. So they use more grains to make the 53%. But somehow it all came 53% is the standard. So nobody doing this low kind of easy drinking thing. So it's in China, the Chinese liquor, all brands that are 53% or 38%. It's crazy. and then they're not accepted everywhere outside of China. Only in China, it's still a big thing. All people drink the high, like 53%, those famous brands.
Now, how have you find like the Chinese drinking culture is different from like Western drinking culture?
It's day and night.
Yeah, like how so?
Like I still have in China, like the friendship, like what would be the best relationship, like not blood related, would be classmates.
Okay.
And also the comrades, like in the army, in the troops.
Oh yeah.
And then you fight together or you train together. Mm-hmm. So you became lifelong friends, best friends, like the classmates as well. So every year I went back, like every time I go back, like if you are in town,
you were a soldier?
No.
Oh, okay.
But the classmates.
I see.
Every time you go back to a city, like where you're from, like if anybody is your classmates still there, they always you gather together, eat and drink a lot in the Chinese liquor. So the Chinese liquor, every year it's a big, huge thing, like for business, everything, for friends gathering. You drink like the whole bottle of the 53%.
Oh,
that's crazy.
Between like how many people? Like
just one. The average, like you probably a table of 10 end up finish 8 bottles.
Whoa, that's a lot.
The 10 years ago I went the last time. The last time was 3 years ago. I brought my daughter there. The last was about 10 years ago. I end up like after that I blacked out completely. I end up waking up in the middle of the night, 3 o'clock in the early morning, in the hospital bed. Oh. My classmate told me like I had 4 bags of IV.
Yikes!
Yeah, it's just totally black. It's because of the Chinese liquor. We had like a big table for like 12 people. One of our teachers that time. So it's always this kind of friends, you know. It's always the connection between classmates is the best. That's from senior high school. That's 20 years ago, more than 20 years ago. So they still treat you like best friend, even you haven't seen each other for like 20 years or 10 years. Every time you visit a town, visit your hometown, they always like you send out a group message. Okay, what day? And then let's set up a dinner. I totally blacked out. Like they said, I threw up, crazy, thought I would have died because one of the guys ended up in the. That's why your best friend. That one of the guys working in the hospital as a doctor. Yeah. So he was staying with me the whole night because I was not conscious. So like 2 beds in the hospital, the room, and I woke up at 3, and he was next bed on the next bed. And then, because he works in the hospital, he brought me toothpaste and toothbrush in the middle of the night. And he just told me the story. You blacked out at 9 o'clock or 8 or 9.
Oh, that's early.
Yeah, early, because I had too much. We started at 6 or 7. And then I just had, like best friend. Like, there were the small cups like this. We had 8, 6, and like crazy. So when you had a lot of alcohol, you did not know. You know, you just had more and more, and that's what 10 years ago I went back. I found out they have they upgrade the games. Before it was like this, look regularly like this for sake. It'll be smaller, and then if we are friends, right? Normally we go together. Like we do 4 cups one time. Okay. Like we finish one, and then we eat a little bit, you know, and then we when I finished with you, we had 4, right? Okay. That was the old time. We're doing this, and you sit with 10 different people, right, in the same big table, and then I have 4 with you, and 4 with that guy, 4 with another guy, and then end up like somebody did probably depends on the size. Probably 40 cups will be 1 bottle. You know, the last time I went back, they upgrade the game. They give you because you have to pull, right? Yeah. The small you have like this, you have to pull every time. It's kind of it's like to show the respect or politeness, and people fighting for doing the serving. You know, it's kind of normally the most youngest person or like doing the serving. Okay. It's kind of really too much time. So last time they have give you a big glass, like a water glass, like that one. They pour you like from the bottle, give you full glass. Okay, this you have to finish by your own, you know. So you just kind of do your like put that into your own, pour that into your own small cup. So they upgrade the game. I saw that 10 years ago. Gee, guys, you guys really good at these games. And you have everybody has a big glass, and there's little tip on the glass, easy for you to pour. So everything it's a measuring cup actually. I saw there's a kind of, so you have 200 millimeter, okay? For next 30 minutes, you finish this 200 millimeter of Chinese liquor.
Oh my god!
And it's self-serving. You pour yourself. If you want to do the cheering with this person, your friend, you do your own. You pour for yourself, okay? We kind of more efficiency. it's crazy. And if you don't drink with somebody, they say you don't respect him. Sometimes you are coerced to drink a lot. Some best strategy would be at the beginning, get go of the whole thing. You say, I'm allergic to alcohol. I cannot drink. I drink when I pass out. That's the best strategy.
Yeah, that's so interesting. It's very not like that in Western. I find it's like when you're kind of younger, when it's like kind of college years, like 19 to 22. It's much more ego drinking than like companionship drinking. Yeah. It's a much more like you don't drink together. It's like you drink. Can you keep up with me?
Yeah.
Like kind of do like that. But I find like kind of when you get older, it's like it's very much more like you plan. You don't. If you're drinking, you're not really eating. Like it's like we'll go out for dinner, and then we'll go out for drinks. You know what I mean? It's usually very separate.
But when you are super young, it's ego. It's for young people. But
yes.
we do it all different ages. Like, young people always do things, right? They want to show they're good at things. Their stamina and strength.
Yeah.
They can take challenges.
Mm-hmm.
But for us, it's especially the business. Business is really bad. A lot of times, any contract or agreement will be done on the dining table, and you end up drinking a lot. This is sometimes if you don't get drunk, or some people from your team not get drunk, you don't even get the contract.
That's so weird.
That's a good thing is like this will help the whole culinary culture. Mm-hmm. So that's why the Chinese cooking is so crazy. They always find a way to improve, like upgrade.
This is very good. Thank you for inviting me up to this.
You're welcome.
My bones.
I guess after this you're gonna drink more sake, right?
I will have to, yeah.
This is a very, very good brand.
How much did that go for at the SAQ?
Probably $12 or $13.
Oh, that's it?
Yeah, that's why it's so popular. And this single
I've
brand.
been so scared my whole life.
This whole brand probably gonna hold the 50% of the market share, I guess. That's my guess. I see everywhere, all restaurants they take this one. It makes sense.
It's very good. It's very subtle and still fairly floral. It's very nice.
And I guess $13, but we sell for $28. So
yes,
it's okay margin,
For sure.
And it shows dry. It shows dry, but it's not dry that much. If you drink the dry wine,
it's very wet.
Yeah. Look at the wine. If it's a dry wine, it's crazy. I just cannot drink dry wine.
No, it really kind of like sucks the tartness out of your mouth. Yeah. I don't mind a dry wine though. Like I usually when I order wine, like I'm not necessarily a wine person. I really like to drink wine with dinner. But I usually I'll be like, oh, I like a fairly dry wine with like medium tannins and like medium body. I'll like kind of go like in that. I like don't really like it very floral. I like it kind of just like on this side of the middle. Very basic.
You've been to the in the fine dining thing, but do you think like this one is kind of our restaurant? Like I want to, I don't know, it's the business model or whatever. So the people are gonna order like several dishes to share.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that will work well?
That's what we do at Garde. So how we order at Garde is we have a la carte, but it's like you really should get the chef menu. And so we have the 120, the 140, and the 160 chef menu, and then you can get like caviar service on top of that, which is like I think it's $250.
But can you choose the things on
You
the?
don't choose. So
you don't choose.
and that's the way to go. Trust me, that is the way to go. If you want an efficient kitchen, give the customer no choice. Honestly, it's the way to do it. But
I guess for our food, they will be super mad. I guess
they would be. I know in like kind of Eastern culture, it's very much like who's ever hosting.
We're pro-choice.
Yes.
Pro-choice right now is not a good word. Huh? It's kind of controversial.
I think pro-choice is a good word in terms of like the vaccine thing.
Pro-choice at
maybe
beginning.
not, but
Beginning was the pregnancy.
Yeah. I mean, I'm always for like you can do whatever policies you want, but like if you're not a woman, like don't make policies for women. That's what my always stance has always been. But no, we at Garde we like you usually get they'll approach like a table of four, and they'll be like, what are we doing? And then so either they'll be like, I'll get the 120, I'll get the 140.
120 is per person.
Oh yeah.
Man, that's expensive.
It's actually like not that bad actually.
Oh yeah. With the inflation, now it's kind of 100.
Well, you get like with the 140, like you get like 7 courses, like, and the courses are very small. So you'll start with like an amuse, which will be like a fried lobster with like a little bit of caviar and a little bit of like creme fraiche and like chives and onion, and then which is one bite. and then they'll come with, and then you'll get a crudo, which is like a deconstructed scallop. So like you'll maybe get like a third of a scallop, and it'll be like cut up into like little cubes, and you'll have some like apples, some like green oil, some sally corn, some creme fraiche, a little bit of lemon juice, and that's like 2-3 bites. And then you'll get like a seafood platter to share for the table. So depending on like how many people is how big the seafood platter is. So like a standard one would be like a half lobster, 5 shrimp, a little bit of mussels, a little bit of like sturgeon pate, a little bit of whatever. And then if you want, you can do caviar service, but not a lot.
Why people like caviar?
I honestly don't know. I think for me. I think it's all hype. Like,
it's
for me,
like
it's
a
all
hype thing.
For me, it's all hype because this is very rare and very expensive. People like to do it.
It's really weird. Even they have the little metal kind of container thing. The little, it's like a makeup thing, right?
Yeah.
What the hell? Like
I know.
people,
And it's like $250. Like it's a lot of money.
it's kind of people stupid or something. Like you have a makeup that container thing, like wrong thing. Like you can literally put some cream inside.
Yeah, I don't personally understand it, but I mean, I definitely can't knock it because I've had it and it's like, ooh, this is cool. It's fairly funky, but
how can you tell the difference of the quality? Like some of them some of them just so cheap, so inexpensive.
I have no idea, honestly. I have no idea.
Like the sushi place, they have some, they can have $1 to $100. I guess the difference.
I think it depends if it's like wild or farmed. I know wild sturgeon is illegal in North America. You can get it in Russia, but anyway, but they basically like the person on Expo, like they'll dictate what you get. So they'll be like, okay, they'll do like per person they'll do kind of like one cold app, one hot app, one main, and like one side kind of deal, and then like a half a dessert. Is kind of like.
But do you think, like the way we eat right now, like 2 guys, 4 different dishes?
If you were to order and have everyone and have every table kind of have this like, see, I love this. This is awesome. But if you were to have the choice and be sharing, because you can definitely make it fine dining. You would either have to have more people in the kitchen to like.
The presentation has to be spot on.
Well,
right?
you'd have to the presentation, but also like there is no because now you don't have the choice of like the nice thing about having the chef dictate what the customer's getting is that like if we're getting backed up on a certain thing, we can easily just be like, hey, change 21 to a duck and do it with that duck. They can easily do that and just be like, oh, we're starting to like. Like we could easily change like based on like what would be easier and more efficient. It's much easier to plate 2 ducks than to plate like a duck and a char. You know what I mean? But I would do it like that, and I would or I would do like more courses to be like, put your order in like so you sit down, you get your mousse, which is like 1 or 2 bites, maybe like a complimentary bottle of sake. And then, like, complimentary.
We charge them later.
Yeah, well, it's included. But then you make everyone order, right? You make everyone order, but you say, what would you like for your mains? You know what I mean? What would you like for the mains? And that's in, let's say, 3 courses. So the kitchen gets it. You come out, you come out with your second course that is like, it's a surprise. People love surprises. People love to be like, ooh, this is a surprise. I didn't know this was coming. Like, you do that, and it's maybe like 3-4 bites. And you come out with another one, maybe like, I don't know, like an edamame dish, or like maybe like a cold like mousse of something that'd be kind of like that's like fairly like acidic and kind of like a cleanser, And they come, and then you maybe do like a soup, like a small soup dish, and then it's the mains. And by and the thing is because you've had those kind of mini courses, and these mini courses, like, you can literally pre-do these. Like, you can have, let's say, like 200 ready for service, like pre-done in the fridge. Like, you just have to take them out and plate them, like literally just set them on the tray so that they give. They're already kind of prefixed, but that buys an extra like
a lot of time,
30-40 minutes for the kitchen to be like to get organized, to be like, okay, I know I have this stuff on the back, rather than like fire. Because you really want the kitchen flow to come in waves. You don't want it to be like a constant kind of like busyness. You really kind of want it to be like, okay, we're going to the first wave. We're doing a lot of plating. Now we're doing a lot of cooking. Now we're doing a lot of plating. Now we're doing a lot of cooking. You really want it to be this flow wave. You don't want it to be like, oh, I'm cooking 2 tables and plating 2 tables and cooking 2 tables, cooking 2 tables. You want to be like, I'm cooking, cooking 3 tables, then I'm plating 3-4 tables. Then I'm cooking, like, you really want that kind of like that flow, I find anyway.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it just gets too hectic. Stations are too small. You get people
That's
in
the
different
thing.
stations.
I'm constantly in a state of hectic. That's the problem.
Yeah, you don't want that.
But also, I have it's very dilemma. It's a contradicting. I always have this combating thoughts in my head. What you were saying is more the efficiency, but like for me, I'm fighting between 2 ideas: being efficient and being like not efficient, maybe a little bit, business side or the high end or like fancy side. Another is traditional, because traditional in Chinese cuisine, we don't have courses. We don't have this. Even the state dinner, we don't have courses idea. We don't have so somehow.
No, you have the big emperor table, like the big dinner where it's like 12, 14 dishes, and you just like pick and choose.
Yeah,
but the thing is, you would need a brigade for that. You would need like at least like
at least
7-8 cooks. At least 7-8 cooks to do
But
that.
for me, for us, it's just like for us, I guess we are doing today is okay, but just like how do we upgrade? Right now, it's people, we are serving people, the speed was fine, because at least my humble background from a village, like poor background, we did not have the luxury of having the idea of courses. Like you have appetizer here or there. We just don't have. For me, it's give me the twice cooked pork.
Yeah.
right away. They order twice. We don't have even order soups. The soup is only for the people in the south, the southern provinces. When we first time we know what the hell you drink soup before the food, and even we just go ahead give me the dish and then rice, right? That's all. So how can we make it a little bit more accessible as a middle end instead of low end? Right now we're still at the low end. I'm always that's why I'm asking you. We have 4 dishes. Let's assume we're happy, right? We're happy what we have the food. Do you somehow can we make it a little bit middle end or the between low end and the middle end? Say I had a great experience. I'm willing to pay certain amount of money as a close to middle end, between low end to middle end, not the high end at all.
But I think that all falls in with your the surroundings, that now. Because
I worry people don't feel that cool. You have 3-4 dishes for.
But the thing is you'd have the same food. Maybe you would have larger plates and using more negative space on the plates. So it's kind of I don't know, maybe doing something like that. But you're really kind of more talking about now your service staff they look uniform. Now they they look a certain way.
But if you up the price, but even you have a fancy plate, more spacing. But if they taste the same twice cooked, but when they say I have the same twice, you are doing fine. Twice cooked is fine here. But comparing other restaurants, same restaurant they're doing the similar taste, but you charge them $20, but they charge them $14. Let's say they're gonna say, "What the hell? You I'm got ripped off, right?"
Well,
so it's kind of a thing.
It's a hard game to play, and I don't know.
I feel I've been thinking this for a lot of years.
Yeah.
I want to make money for sure, but how? Tell me how.
But because I only know it from the Western point of view, where it's and for the Western point of view it's always more courses. It's always smaller plates, more courses. That's always the way. That's always the way for white people, because they love being surprised, and they love receiving
served, right?
They love receiving things. They they love to be ooh, it's special.
It's people a discount, right? The same thing, I 50% off. But that's will be totally between our tradition.
I know, and so
a lot of people told me, why do you have a Chinese restaurant? Why don't you have a sushi place? But the only Japanese I can say is what is the
you can't even say it.
Kawaii. Oh, not kawaii.
I don't know.
It's lovely. What is how to say lovely?
I have no idea. I don't know any. I don't know any Japanese.
Or sayonara. Sayonara. Goodbye. The only thing Japanese word I say sayonara or the bagialo is bastard. Bagialo bad bastard. It's a cursing word. It's people saying obviously if you do sushi restaurant, you probably can make a lot of money right now. So but people saying, you have restaurant experience. You why don't you do things Chinese cuisine is so hard? You are doing so hard. Why don't you do the sushi? But I don't. I've had to say their language. I don't feel comfortable.
Oh, that's very fair. That's very fair.
Sayonara and also kawaii. Oh, kawaii.
Oh.
Kawaii means lovely. So cute. Yeah, kawaii.
Okay.
Yeah, kawaii. Yeah. It's this kind of tradition. I want to keep some. It's compromise. We still have General Tso chicken, but it's compromise. I want to have the form of dining, several people sharing several dishes.
Yeah.
The steamed rice.
But I think the answer to that is literally just a bigger kitchen. Because not even necessarily the people, but you need the space, because the whole thing with when you reach fine dining, it's everything is very confident. Everything is very it's thought out, and so it's so
you have to
serve one table. Let's say this is a table of 6. and we're putting 6 dishes on the table or whatever, you would need 6 servers.
Yeah.
So they all lay them down at the same time. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, that's when you get into fine dining with like group style. It's like all the servers, they all stand on the left side of you, hand behind the back, and they all set the things down at the same time. And then it's like, so now in order to do that, you need a space like at least the size of this, but square, in the kitchen so that they can plate 10 dishes.
Really?
Oh, 100%. You can't, like, because that's the thing is like,
That's why one day I need to work in your kitchen.
I don't know.
I can work for free.
But it's you need, because if you're gonna do group styles, because that's the thing about plate is like that's why we do courses. So it's like it breaks up the food, it extends their time, they drink more, they socialize more, they whatever. But then it's like you break up their food into smaller plates, and so it's like it's much easier to plate 4 plates at a time. Then I only need this much space. But if I'm serving enough food for like a one and done, like all the food needs to come up at the same time, and it all needs to be placed at the same time, and it all needs to be plated at the same time. So it needs to all be the same temperature, or at least the temperature that needs to be, to serve it at. Which means it all has to be done at the same time. Which means you need at least like 2-3 cooks plating, 2-3 cooks cooking, and 2-3 cooks like measing, like And then so it's a tough game you're trying to play.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because you have the space, you have the space up here, but you don't have the space down there.
Yeah, exactly. That's for sure. The kitchen is relatively small. It's not serving
So
the
like
purpose
you're kind
of
of
the...
forced because
But
you can
that's-
do a small kitchen, but you would just have to course it, because then it's no longer, if it comes up in sequences, like if the server comes back and forth to your table, we're not talking fine dining anymore.
Yeah.
We're not talking about.
But to be honest, I never I never want to be a fine dining. My goal is
Overrated.
my idea is like not the bottom. My idea is always not the
I
bottom.
think you're already
More-
there though.
More accessible, because if you price like the green beans on $11, like if we put $20, I think it's not accessible anymore.
No.
To a lot of people. Like and also it's kind of, I don't know, maybe my background is from a village. I don't think people should spend that much on the eating.
They shouldn't.
Yeah, it's and also I don't know. If I can never picture I'm a middle end or even high end, never, because I'm like, just having good time with, eat with your friends or family, have good food, not crappy, not bad food. You cannot have great food, just kind of 75%, 75, is already very good. It's try the best, but I can never do any even middle end. It's the not so bottom end. The high end is for me. It's like only for weddings. If I like have wedding or at anniversary or the birthday, go once a while, but it's not for everybody. For me, it's like more tradition, but I do want to make money.
Yeah.
Want to make business like it's kind of popular, but like so far, I guess we are fine. I guess
I think you're there. Like I
But I always
I stumbled into this place because like I looked up best Chinese food near me, and then you were in the top 3, and I looked at like the first
what is
kind of
that?
Google review, and it was like, oh, come here if you want like actual like traditional style Chinese food. And I was like, oh, that's like what I want. I don't want none of the white sweet shit. Like, and so I came here and I literally was like, this is so good, but it was exactly what I wanted though. Like it was exactly what I sorted out or sought out. And like
So you
when
came
I came
twice already, right? You came twice already.
I've been here twice. This is my 3rd time now. But
Third time is free.
but I came and I was like, when I saw like the sign, it was like I had kind of like a preconceived notion of what it was, and it was actually like a little bit higher end than I was like expecting it to be. I thought it was going to be like
$10.
well, no, not even the price. The price is kind of irrelevant, but it's not
completely irrelevant, but I just meant like how it was set up. Like, you know, you didn't have like the crack tile, you didn't have the menu that's been on the wall for 10 years. You didn't have like those kind of things. And that was kind of like what I was like, because I love those places. Those are my favorite places. If you have like a menu that's like sun dyed and you have a child doing homework in the restaurant, that's my favorite place.
Really?
Those are the best places. Oh, they're the best places. You can't tell me otherwise. If there's a child doing homework, better yet, if there's a child taking my order, that's the
I do recommend. There's a really book is Canadian Chinese. She wrote a book about chop suey nation.
Okay.
I read that book. It's amazing about the first generation or the generation they work their kids doing homework in the restaurant.
Yeah.
They support the kids to go to school, and the whole family relying on the restaurant. They even the full land. There's a very tiny island with only 200 people. They have a Chinese restaurant. They're doing the chop suey, those kind of leftover whatever.
Yeah.
They cook that. That's kind of I guess it's CBC journalist or something. The author, she's kind of Canadian Chinese. She wrote that chop suey nation. I listened to that on the radio, CBC radio, and then I read that book, borrowed that book in the library. It's amazing. So that's exactly the story you mentioned. Like it's kind of just family doing making a living.
Yeah, because that's how you know it's good. Because it's like you know it's good because like they care, and they care because they literally have to.
Yeah, exactly.
Lives
the whole life. Yeah, whole family.
So like, not that I think people should be forced into a position where they need to rely on something to live, but I'm just saying that's how you get the best food.
Yeah.
Same with like, you know, I definitely support the movement of like, you know, having healthier kitchens and like being more like conscientious of like, you know, kind of like a social work-life balance kind of stuff like that, and being like, you know, a socially accepting kitchen and stuff like that.
But
the fact of the matter is, the cooks that get pans thrown at them and the cooks that get yelled at and are, you know, in the weeds, those are the best cooks.
Yeah.
You know, and so it's hard to bridge that. It's hard to bridge that gap of like, you know, like, you know. So it's, but don't get me wrong. I completely support like everything. I think the restaurant industry is starting to make, you know, some good changes finally after like years of being, you know, a very.
What is the guy? The Hell's Kitchen is the Ramsey.
Oh, Ramsey, yeah. I don't like Ramsey.
But is that real? Like I got yelled
It's
at
very
in
real.
the kitchen.
It's very real. It's very real.
He yelled at you and.
Oh yeah, like. Yes, I've been fortunate enough that like I haven't worked in like.
You're not
really
receiving end too much yet.
And I haven't worked in like super bad kitchens, but I work with a lot of people that have like. Worked with that like really bad kitchens where it's like very stressful, and you get like borderline like assaulted like on the line, and it's like that's not the answer. And that's the reason I have a
But
problem.
most people they respect it. Even they yell at you, they scream at you, but they
Yeah,
kind of is the kind of the urgency of that thing, you know.
It is, but there's a way to do it that like gets your point across, and it's like. I don't know. I have different problems with Gordon Ramsay. I like where it's just kind of like I don't know. It's just not that. It's just kitchens just aren't that way anymore for very good reasons.
Evolving.
It is evolving.
It's evolving.
You know, but like the stress is very real, and I've always been a huge Anthony Bourdain stan. Like I love Anthony Bourdain. He's R.I.P. That's kind of who I always look to for like. Wow, keep going. What time is it?
Almost one.
Oh, okay. That's not too bad at all.
You drink more. I drink a lot. If I ever drink more than like a lot, if I drink a lot, I don't know what I'm talking about. That would be that would be a problem. My problem is if I start something I like drinking, I kind of keep going. Like I finish everything.
That's fair. That's very fair. I feel like
it's like I drink to fill the blank of conversation.
Yeah, that's very true. That's very true.
I always drinking. When I work in IT, because my English is not very good, so in the bar setting, so other colleagues they always talk a lot, very popular. Sometimes just cannot understand. It's noisy, and then the stories they're telling, I don't know what they're talking about. So I just keep drinking. I like, I guess one night in the Crescent Street, the bar, like Thursday, Wednesday.
By Concordia.
Yeah. And one time, I guess I kind of 6 bottles of beer. In bar, you don't drink 6 bottles because that's very expensive. I kind of had nothing to say, and then I was keep drinking.
That's so funny. It's funny. It's like, was it what restaurant was it? Was it Burger Bar Crescent?
No, we always went to what is that called? Either Thursday or Winston.
Okay.
Winston was because they're bars. Like
when I first moved here, I actually got hired at Burger Bar Crescent, but they never emailed me for my starting shift. Like they hired me to be like, we shook hands, and then I was like, I texted like who I thought was the supervisor. I was like, hey, when do I shift? When do I start? And they're like, they just like never replied to me, and I was like, okay. And they were like, they wanted me to be like a part-time sous chef because it was like they were kind of not doing well. Oh, sorry. They were like not doing well. They were in between like staff and management and stuff, but it was not good.
I guess it's difficult for them because during the pandemic, I guess all the sales went down like crazy, especially for their kind of business. For us, we were fine with takeout. For them,
for takeout,
for us, we were a little bit fine, but we still complain.
Well, people got sick of takeout. Like after a while, people were like, I don't want to get takeout anymore.
And I guess the restaurant you mentioned or something, it's very tough for them. So when they look at the kind of balance, it's kind of crazy. They have to fit, like today we can hire, get this amount of people in. No, it's very tough.
It's starting to get full.
The pandemic is crazy. It's ruining everybody.
I know.
I'm surprised your restaurant is still doing great.
Well, we're usually okay. We're not doing as good. We used to be like reservation only, and now we're like
picking, walking.
Yeah, which is like a huge telltale sign because it used to be like, please make a reservation, otherwise don't show up. Like, we don't even have a sign in front of our restaurant.
But right now it's always coming. It's March. I guess March will be much better than today in February.
I don't know. I have such mixed feelings because I'm like, I don't want the hospitals and stuff to be like overwhelmed at things, but like, it's just a shame because it's very obvious that like the government is like, A, they don't know what the fuck they don't know what they're doing, and B, it's very confusing where their loyalty lies because it's like all of a sudden it's like it's like, oh, quarantine for 2 weeks, and now it's like, oh, you just have to quarantine for 5 days, and it's like, oh, actually office buildings have purifiers in them that it reduces the risk of COVID. It's like, what are you doing? Like, what are you doing here? Like, if you don't care about the people, just say it. Let us go on about our lives. But if you do, then let's do this. I guess the reason why people are so
one way is a little bit cynical is they want to exercise their power. Today 5 people, next 10 people, another 15 people.
I don't even know if it's about exercising their power because because you have to think about what's the benefit to them, right? Like what's the benefit to them? And the position they're caught. I'll make a disclaimer right now. I am not in support of the Freedom Convoy, but we see that the government they've been made aware of academic studies and how serious the pandemic is, and that it's real, and so many people will die, and the hospitals will and have been overrun. All these things, but then they also have they're lobbyists and they're like the corporations that are kind of like in their ear, and they like, and so they're trying to balance the two, but you can't because they're such different things. And so when you balance the two, you end up just making everyone very mad. Like you end up just making everyone very mad, and you end up not accomplishing anything.
But even I'm not sure it's true or not. It's even 2 years right now. Actually, in Canada right now, they're not treating the patients properly.
My gosh, my dad had a heart attack during the pandemic, and he like was sent home too early. My mom like picked my dad up when he was like literally couldn't even like walk, and he was like in his underwear in the lobby, like just because. And they were like, "Oh, we're too overstaffed," which is like fair. I get it. Like I get it, but it's like my dad was recovering from a heart attack, and he was at home, and he did not like receive like the proper like Canadian healthcare that we like praise, that we praise about. Well, yeah, and it's just it's just so sad to see, and it's so sad to see like all my brothers and sisters like in the industry have just been suffering for so long. Pretty much everyone that I know like in the industry has left the industry, and they're not coming back. Like
what industry?
Like
the
food industry.
Yeah,
like they've left and they're not coming back.
No, not
like,
no.
I almost did that too.
It's not attractive anymore. It's not. It's the.
No, I and it's because the thing is, it's like the cook or worker or whatever complains to their boss, and they're like, "I'm not getting enough hours," and the boss is like, "Well, we're not getting enough customers."
Yeah, exactly.
And it's like
the balance is over there.
And it's like, and I get that, and that's fine, but it's like, then you're gonna tell me like you're gonna lay me off, and then Daddy Trudeau's gonna be like, "Ooh, I'm gonna give you $270 a week."
That's
and
always
it's like, what's that gonna do?
That's always
it doesn't even come in my rent.
I guess I said on the last episode saying like I cannot imagine any restaurant owner they would like Trudeau. I cannot imagine any of them.
It's not even just Trudeau. It's like it's
just
the
government
whole
ruined us. Yeah,
it's the whole cabinet.
Yeah,
like
exactly,
they're trying to please both sides. Like, but the thing is they're just failing. The 2000 a month was great. I could pay rent. That was awesome because that's what I make. And so it's like you can't. Here's my problem. I'll be very clear with my problem is. My problem is that we are expected to work to make money. We are expected to earn money in order to live. We don't get free food.
Yeah, exactly.
We don't get free rent. We don't get anything for free. And so by that very nature, we praise like healthcare is a right in Canada. Well, it's like, what I also would praise that like is a right? I would say that food's a right. I would say shelters are right. And I would say like, water and clothes are right.
Who's providing that?
We should have the means to do that. And so it's like, and if you're saying that like you need to provide that for yourself through a job, okay. Then you know what else becomes a right? The right to work.
Yeah, exactly.
Which we have said, but now it's like, it sucks to suck, and it's like, no, it doesn't just suck to suck. It's like I've lost all my savings. All my savings I've lost, like since the pandemic, just on rent and things. And it's like all I want is to just be able to pay my rent, and to maybe one day in the next 10 years own a house, so I don't throw away 70% of my paycheck, because that's all I do.
But because why they don't care? The people working in the big corporations and all the people working the government, they don't lose anything. They work from home, even more freedom for them.
No,
because they
for sure.
Yeah, exactly. So they don't have the incentive to fix the whole situation. They don't have incentive. That's all. Because for them, it's some people even before they have to go to the government building to work. Now they work from home. They're doing coffee, talking to kids, and then get the same paycheck or even more.
Yeah.
Why do they care?
Well, and I'm for that. My belief has always been I don't think people should have less. I get into a lot of arguments with different people where it's like they're like, I don't think I should be paying this much money for people to, live at home, live off the land, like live off the government or whatever. And I sympathize with that. And you know what? They're right. It is unfair. But it's like, but instead of being mad at the person on welfare, it's like, why aren't we mad at, like, we should have a UBI. Like, a UBI.
Oh, yeah, UBI from Andrew Yang, United States. You know Andrew Yang?
Oh, yeah.
UBI.
Well, I think we should have a UBI where it's like, could you imagine? Because there's a whole argument where it's like, well, people won't work. And it's like, I don't know about you. Like, I will still work. Like, are you saying that, like, if you have your basic needs covered, that's just it for you? You'll just stay at home? Like, I'm sure we looked at the pandemic. People don't want to stay at home and do nothing. Like, it's very obvious. And it's just this, like, narcissistic projection that people are like, oh, we need people to struggle to, like, move the economy and then they can, like, earn their wealth. And it's like, no one should have more than $1 billion if 60% of the population can't afford a $300 emergency fund. Like, what good is it? It's like, oh, congratulations, we're the richest nation in the world, but like no one can buy a house. And it's like, and I'm just like, I understand that, like, people are getting money from the government. People think that's unfair. And you know what? I agree. I think it is unfair. But we shouldn't take that money away from them. We should be giving more money to the people. And because there's a very easy argument to say this. It's like,
and also the whole inflation will do a lot of damage to the bottom people.
Yeah.
The inflation basically is caused by less people working, less output, and the same demand, less supply, less. But it's product, like, services, why? And then the inflation will be a.
Well, it's like if I can make the same amount, not working as I would working, why would I work?
Exactly.
But if I can make extra money working, then of course I would work. But
it's
like
incentive, right?
Well, exactly. It's like basic economics, and the thing is like there are people that exist that you don't want to hire. Like, I don't think I'm being rude by saying that. There are people that I've met that I do not want to work with. I don't want them handling my food. No, seriously. I don't want them handling my food. I don't want to work with them, Do I think they should die? No, I don't think they should die. But do I also think that they should make money? Like, that I don't make money? I think that's also unfair. What's the answer? Give them the means to live. And while you're giving them the means to live, give us all the means to live. Everyone loves to talk about the free market, but it's like we're so restricted by these capitalist chains that, like, the market is no longer free. We are forced to buy the cheapest thing. And you look at you see how popular, like, we outsource labor and stuff.
Yeah,
like, and it's like, I feel like if people had the freedom to choose, they would choose a more ethical company. They would choose a more ethical product. They would choose these things. But and that's what the free market would dictate. But because they don't have the means to choose these things, they're forced to get
Dollarama.
They're forced to get Dollarama. Absolutely. And so it's then you see at the stock, it's like, oh, Dollarama is doing really well, but it's like that's not actually reflective.
That means the economy is not good.
Well, it's not reflective of people's morality. You know what I mean? And so it's like you can't claim the free market.
That's a good indicator. If Dollarama is doing great, it means the economy is really bad because people have to go back to the one-time thing. Screwdriver is like one time. The whole screwdriver is kind of the tip is gonna. You never buy tools there, right?
No.
And you get a lot of tools like crazy that the quality is like it's like a plastic instead of metal.
Or it's like, what are we doing? That's like seriously. Like, what are we doing here? Like, we're making things cheaper and faster. We're cutting more corners. We're using cheaper materials. We're like, we don't care anymore. We live in this like throwaway society, and we did this to ourselves. This is like not something new. This is like years. This is generations in the making. And now
And
we're stuck.
also the thing, if your quality is not good, you throw and then the garbage environment again.
Yeah.
You pollute when you produce, you
I
pollute
know,
when you
it's-
transport, you
it's
pollute
like-
when you distribute,
We
and
just,
then
it's
and
like,
then
what
throw.
are we doing here? What are we doing?
It's crazy. It is
Sorry, I feel like I'm like
when you
going off on a
when you-
tangent here, but
when you look at those kind of stuff, like you use only one time, or even some tools you're supposed to last
Oh,
like.
this was too full.
Sorry about that.
It was. Okay, I'm sure it'll dry. I shouldn't have wore the beige pants.
That's why they always like saying like they protect environment. But when you want to protect environment, you need to make sure you have something lasting.
God. Well, okay, so I wrote about this in one of my classes where it's like, we're very quick to moralize companies. We're very quick to be like, oh, why aren't you using, sustainable packaging? Why are you using plastic straws? Why are you doing this? Why are you doing this? But we don't ask, why aren't renewable and sustainable packaging accessible? Why do we still have styrofoam? Why do we still have this? It's like, you're really gonna get mad at the struggling business that that's all they can afford? Like, you're gonna get mad at them, but you're not gonna be like, why is this still legal? Why do we still sell this? It just baffles me because they're so
also-
quick to be like, you shouldn't support this thing, and it's like, but they're not quick to be like, this shouldn't exist.
Even the plastic bagging thing, like the Quebec, we produce a lot of wool stuff, the paper stuff, and the paper bag is super expensive. If you want to promote paper bags and you make it like less expensive, we are good at the producing. We have a lot of trees.
Well, it's easy. Just make plastic bags illegal.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
just make them illegal. Be like, hey, whatever you have on this date in stock, you can sell that. After that, it's illegal. You cannot make any
And
more.
also the paper bags, they need to bring down the cost. It's you just either give them incentives or some kind of you have to bring down the cost of the plastic bags if the big paper bags. And also recycle the trucks, they never recycle. That's the
No, it
thing.
goes to the same spot.
Yeah, why do you
Yeah.
spend so much money? You
I
have
know,
different
I
trucks,
know.
like different trucks, and pay them separately and extra money. They're just doing the child game. Let's be a family. Like the same. Why do you you have the children's play, but in a big scale, like municipal scale. It's crazy. Every time you see the recycle truck, they just recycle everything and they landfill anyway. So the people go through. Okay, I put the paper box here, there, and you go through all this and
I think was it 10% of all recyclable items actually get recycled?
even less. I guess even less. I live in West Island. West Island normally like the resident they kind of follow rules a little bit more. They put the recycle bin, everything material inside, but they don't care. The truck drivers recycle trucks. They don't. It's the same stuff. And they all knew. Everybody knows.
Everybody
Even the
knows.
city, but
That's the thing. That's the kicker.
Yeah.
That's the kicker is that everybody knows.
yeah, everybody knows. They're still doing the same silly things, wasting people's money, and not doing anything good to the environment. That's the thing. It's
Progressive capitalism at its finest for me. It's how does it look? Not what am I doing? It's not what am I doing. It's how do I look doing it?
And if you say if you recycle paper and not worth the cost, you may create a business model to have some company they may come into this business to have profit, right? Everything looking for profit. You cannot ask them if you lose money, you come into the business.
Yeah. Well, I know Cielo Waste Management. They turn plastics and different I don't know. They turn different products into diesel, into fuel. It's I don't know much about it, but I know they're doing some things along that line of trying to counter. Yes,
Really nice thing. I like sake.
that's good.
For me, lime is better than wine. it's easier for me. Like the
Yeah.
wine is.
The wine can be very heavy sometimes too. I like ice wine. I don't mind if I'm gonna drink.
Oh, ice wine, yeah.
Yeah,
It's
if I'm
a
gonna-
good thing.
if
I
I'm
think
gonna-
it's they put a lot of sugar in it.
Well, the thing is, if I'm gonna drink a lot of wine, like if I'm gonna be like, I'm gonna get wine drunk, I'll probably choose like a white wine to get wine drunk. I find with like a red wine, I get very sleepy. I find it gets, even though it's probably like the same alcohol.
I like the sweet stuff. The ice wine, also the porter. The porter is soup. The
I
porter,
don't know what that is.
the porter they.
Porter.
Yeah,
Oh yes.
they do the wine twice, right?
Yes.
I guess it's super sweet, 20%. Even it's like more potent, but like super sweet.
Mm.
Porter.
It's almost like kind of like apple juice almost. It's like apple juice mixed with gin.
Don't like the gin flavor. Gin has the pine
Really?
thing. Yeah, gin has the.
Well, it's like have you ever had juniper berries?
I have gin with. Gin is like I know I have a lot of gin. I used to buy the 5 basic spirits.
Okay.
So, like the gin is like you can taste the flavor of the pine tree.
Yeah.
Really, you see, this is coming from pine.
Well, it's actually it's less the pine and it's more the juniper berries.
Or whatever for me is in Chinese language you will say pine. All the between the pine family, like the kind of special flavor, unique flavor. That's the thing is crazy. For me, the vodka is easy, a little bit easier because no specific flavor. It's just.
I'm a whiskey person. Like my go-to is Jameson or Canadian
Jameson,
or Canadian Club. That's like my go-to. But
the
then
whiskey is interesting. Whiskey is you feel
it's the burn.
Something burned.
Yeah. You definitely feel the burn. But I also really like what is it? I'm drawing a blank.
Yeah, we almost finished the bottle.
There you go. I didn't think we would finish it.
I have the green beans.
Yeah, everything's good. I'm full now. I'm very full. Everything is very good though. Very good.
Actually, I don't mind being full. I will eat everything.
I know, I'm trying to watch my weight though. I got a wedding coming up, so I still want to fit into my suit.
I always watch my weight, but once in a while I prepare this 2 days without eating too much.
So you're like, I'm ready to go.
I always
Play lots of soccer.
I play a lot of soccer. I'm a big fan of soccer. I'm not good at that anyway.
Well, skill is always relative. Skill is always like is like a path of like when you're here. My fiance talks about this all the time. But when you're here, you think perfection's here, and then when you're here, you're like, oh, perfection's up here. And it go on, so on and so on. It's skill is very relative. What matters is if you're doing it is really what it matters.
Also, you mentioned you have the plan in 10 years probably buy a house. What do you think of right now? The house price is crazy.
I don't even want to talk about it. It's so
That's
depressing.
crazy, yeah.
It's so depressing.
That's crazy.
Because the thing is like the thing that makes me very mad is that right now I pay my fiance and we pay $14.50 per month in rent. You could
That sounds
5 years
actually.
5 years ago. But the thing is we can get a mortgage for $1,300, less than our rent. But we won't get accepted because it's like, ooh, you're too high risk, you're too young, or you're too this, or you're too that, you haven't worked at this job long enough, and it's like,
Oh yeah.
so you think I can afford a $1,400 a month rent, but can't afford a $1,300 mortgage? It's just so frustrating, especially when it's our parents. It's when they were 25, it's oh, I'm married. They're like, congratulations, do you want this house? Oh, I don't know if I qualify. Doesn't matter. You can have it. Just make sure you make your minimum payments. It's just so I'm just I just want a place to live that I don't throw away all my money on. Because rent, you don't get that money back. Once you pay your rent,
No.
it's gone.
you know, and then the next month you pay it, it's gone. At least with the house, it's like you pay the money, and then it's like, oh, I'm deciding to move. I'm gonna sell this house. Oh, look, I got all that money back, or I got some of that money back, or oh, I made more money on it. It's like I don't even care about making money. I don't want to buy a house to make money. I literally just want to buy a house so I'm not throwing away my money. Like I just want to live. Like not too much to ask.
But how about like sometimes do you think that's kind of possible? The parents gonna chip in some for the down payment?
But they shouldn't have to.
Exactly.
That's my point. Is like my parents will. My parents are.
They save some, yeah.
Well, they've always supported me. They support me
You are
through
the
the
only
wedding.
child, or
No, I have an older sister. My parents have always been very good to support me, and they're like I love them very much, and they're amazing. But the point is they shouldn't have to support me.
Yeah.
Like I should be able to, because there's many people that don't have parents.
Yeah.
There's many people that like their parents are in debt. Like you shouldn't have to rely on generational wealth to own a home. Like that's you. It makes me so mad. It makes me so mad.
But whose problem is that right now? If you see the increase, like
For me, it's the landlord. It's people owning houses and then like renting them out.
okay.
It's like what are you doing? Like it's like you know when you go to like a music concert,
yeah,
and then you have those people that are like, oh, I got tickets, and it's like it's like a sold out show,
yeah,
but they have tickets that are twice the price. To me, those are landlords. Is they buy up all the properties and then they're like, oh, I'll give it to you for, my mortgage is $1,200. I'll give it to you for $1,300. And it's like, I feel like being a landlord like should be illegal. like,
But
like-
is that like if a lot of people renting, so that would drive down the price of the?
no, it wouldn't. It wouldn't because
Not so many people want to buy.
It wouldn't drive down the price because it's people. Well, people don't want to rent. Like that's a myth. People would love to own a house. People want to own a house. People don't want to just throw away their money. Renting used to be attractive because it used to be
Freedom?
It used to be freedom, and it used to be a lot cheaper. It used to be a lot cheaper to rent, But this is back in the time, in the 40s to 80s when you rented, you didn't rent a house. You didn't rent a room. You rented, or you didn't rent you didn't rent like a room in a house. You rented like an apartment as part of like an apartment building. You know what I mean? Where it was like, no one's buying that. Like I'm renting a room at a hotel for a couple months, or / a year or something. But now we have people buying houses and then just renting out the houses. And all they're doing is just like they're jacking up their own market. Like they're doing it to themselves, and it's so frustrating to see.
But the city would be happy as well because they can have more property tax. If the price of the property goes up, the city get more.
Yeah, but I don't care about the city. I just care about the people owning.
That's the motivation for the city not doing anything to fix the problem.
I see what you're saying.
Yeah, because the city is supposed to.
Yeah, they can hire. Well, I saw.
They have the property tax going up for the revenue for the city. That's crazy.
Well, I saw a picture. It was on the internet, and it was an email that was sent out to a renter, and it was saying that like the price to own has gone up, so therefore the rent is going up.
Yeah, exactly.
And then so the person looked it up. The person looked up their the building, and they found out that like the mortgage percentage did not increase. It didn't increase. What increased was the property tax because the property value increased.
Yeah, exactly.
So what happened was this landlord was charging the
More.
tenant who doesn't own the asset more because the property
city
has gained more value, which the landlord
benefits
when they benefit from.
Yeah.
And it's like, I look at that and it's like, yes, you can make the argument of like, well, like the landlord is, the cost of that is higher. But I'm like,
what is the landlord providing? Like, because they're not providing housing. The people that built the house and first sold the house, they're providing housing.
But
The landlord is not providing housing.
city benefits at the end though. City got a lot of.
The city always benefits. The city always does, and that's why the city,
That's
the
why
city
they.
doesn't care. And that's why it's gotten so bad. Is like we're now like just in the last couple of years,
Crazy.
the NDP have been talking about like the housing crisis in Canada, and it's like we've known about this since 2005. Like
That's why city does not have incentive because that's
No.
the main revenue.
I know, and it's like I'm just like, can we just like put people first? Can we just do that? Like, it's just so frustrating and heartbreaking to see. Like for me, I think like I don't think all landlords are bad, of course.
You could
But
do
I
the
think-
cycle. After some time, you're gonna.
But what I think is I think housing is a right. I think we should have access to housing, and I think that like the amount of properties you own should be determinant on how many employees you employ. Because everyone's been on the internet and seen the landlord special where they just take white paint and they paint everything. They paint the light switches, they paint the door hinges, they paint the doorknobs. They paint everything white. If there's a cockroach on the floor, they paint that white too. And so it's like, and all that is like, it's landlords, working full time and trying to like get ahead in the system by like owning some property and getting value from that. But it's like, all they're doing is yes, they're making more value for themselves, but they're taking it away from others, and it's so frustrating to see.
I guess if
Sorry, I'm getting so depressing right now.
No, it's better for everybody because if the price goes up and the city gets more tax and the burden of the money comes from either the landlord or the tenant. So either way, but who's winning? Always the city has more tax.
Yeah.
That's the problem because and also the people not renting. The regular people living in their house, they get more property tax.
Yeah.
So they're even not landlords, they're just like residents.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
I know. I don't know.
The regular residents, they got, the house, like, evaluation goes up like by 20 grand. Oh yeah, but then the property tax every year you pay more and you are not selling and you kind of.
Yeah, you get screwed.
Yeah, that's the problem is the government, the city, that does not have the incentive to fix anything. Like,
Yeah.
it's crazy.
Oh.
But like, back to like, you've been in Montreal for how long?
Like, I came here August 7th was my first day. here.
Jeez, that's like
Not very long.
not very long.
Not very long. Oh,
What do you
that's
think?
it.
Yeah, then I don't have anything. But what do you think of Montreal? Montreal is very unique.
I'm having a great time. My fiance is not having such a great time.
She's from Ontario as well.
She's actually from Saskatchewan. She's
Oh,
from
even further.
even further, yeah. I find that there are definitely. It's hard to say. I feel like the city is a beautiful city. I feel like that it has not been resistant to late stage capitalism. I feel like, because we see, like, the buses are crap. The buses are so bad.
Really? A lot of people think we have good public.
Tourists think they do because if you're going to the main parts of the city, oh, they're great. They run every like 10 minutes. Oh, it's amazing. It's so good.
The most
But if
line
you want
there are 30.
if you want to go anywhere else, like you're lucky if they show up sometimes. Like I've been waiting for buses and it's like I get there 5 minutes early, and then it's like it's 5 minutes late, and then I'm like I text the bus stop and it's like it'll be here in 30 minutes, and I'm like, what happened? What happened to the bus? That's happened so many times. It's really annoying that the metro ends at 1. Like, that's really dumb. I'll say it.
Do you think the public transportation is better in Toronto? So they have more.
I don't know
services?
much about Toronto.
Oh,
Toronto. I think my fiance definitely thinks so. I know in Kitchener in Kitchener, unless it's after 4 a.m., you'll never really get stranded anywhere.
Kitchener, that's where.
That's where I'm from. That's like it's
Yeah,
Waterloo.
Even the
Kitchener,
small
Waterloo.
city, they have this.
Yeah.
Really, I thought it was this thing only exists in the big cities.
No, not the. They don't have a metro. They don't have a metro. They have
But
buses.
the bus system is.
But the
good.
buses run.
Really?
The buses run like we even have like the late like
A lot of
it's reduced buses, yes, but like at least there is a bus. Like if you're like
a lot
2,
of cities
3
in the
a.m.
North America, in the United States, they even don't have bus. They don't have even
that's
bus.
brutal.
Yeah, even they rely on cars. Waterloo, they have good bus system. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean it's not the best, but it's really not bad. Well, actually, the Kitchener does have it kind of has a metro now. They have what they call the Ion, which connects. It goes to Waterloo, Kitchener, and Cambridge, and it's like it's an above ground subway.
Yeah.
So that's cool. I find that like it's just so weird because I'm still like kind of like I'm leaving the honeymoon period of Montreal. Or
Have
like
you seen
when I
anywhere?
first-
Have you seen anywhere in Montreal like
it's also
attractions?
it's also hard because it's the
pandemic.
pandemic. It's the pandemic, so it's like I moved here and I was like when I first moved here I was like ooh yay this is awesome I'm having so much fun, and then I'm kind of like this is very impersonal because I come from Kitchener, which has a very like strong community.
Okay.
You know, it's
Everybody knows that.
hashtag DTK. You know, like everyone's like everyone pays attention to each
Yeah.
other. Everyone supports like local businesses, but it's like we're like there's so much here that I'm like I get a little bit overwhelmed. But all in all, like I like it. I'm having a good time. I'm not gonna stay here forever.
Really?
No, I'm gonna finish my degree here, and then so like in 5 years I'll probably move somewhere. I don't know where I'm gonna move next. I would love to spend 1 year abroad.
Either United States or Toronto.
Definitely not in the United States.
But in Canada, I guess the Toronto is number one choice for a lot of lot of
Well,
stuff,
it's
lot of
the
things
big-
happening there.
Yeah, it's the big three like Vancouver, Montreal, Toronto. Those are the big three. But I don't know. I'm also like I'm very biased towards like smaller communities, like not necessarily small towns, but like smaller cities. I feel like there's a lot more.
Smaller would be Ottawa. Ottawa would be small.
I don't know. I've been thinking actually about like Sudbury, but like again, this is like in 5 years, so like I have no idea what the plan is.
You don't have French giving you trouble.
I do not speak any French. My fiance is fluent in French, but I'm not.
Seriously, from Saskatchewan, from the.
She grew up in French immersion, so like she took French like all throughout school.
You said Saskatchewan. Oh,
Saskatchewan, yeah, in Regina. She's from.
jeez. That's like early preparation.
I know. She's a smart cookie. She's a smart cookie, that's for sure.
French, like a lot of people, they hear the French. There will be a lot of people that will turn them off. The French and the winter. Winter, like everywhere in Canada.
Yeah.
Same. Everywhere in Canada is brutal. But Montreal, like, it's like, it's mainly in the city. You don't have too much to see, right? In the city, it's kind of not very modern, but it's surroundings. A lot of hills, mountains.
Oh, yeah.
And the Sultan and the Suvet.
Yeah, I can't wait till the pandemic's over, like, and just so I can like fully appreciate the city because I feel like I'm missing out on so many things too.
But Montreal is overall like, I guess it's.
Have you lived in Montreal the entire time?
In Canada, yes.
In Canada,
Yeah, 16 years.
Okay.
It's I don't know. It's for a lot of to make money or business. I would say a lot of especially working in IT, Toronto would be much better.
Oh, for sure. Even Kitchener. Kitchener has a huge IT sector.
Yeah, I guess all the somewhere around Brampton, whatever.
Oh yeah.
All those cities around
Mississauga.
we all call them Toronto for me to make it simple. So like
For sure.
Toronto area. it's like a lot of opportunities. High is even the average salary is much higher, I guess.
Yeah.
It's
It's very expensive to live in Toronto. Very expensive. And Vancouver. Vancouver, I think, is on par with how expensive Toronto is. They're all very expensive.
But they all say Montreal has the most, except for New York, most like per capita like the restaurants. I don't know why is that. Like but they said Montreal has most restaurants per capita.
No, I'm pretty sure it's. I think we're actually. I think Regina.
Really?
Regina has
Really
most-
more
Well, but it's only not because they have more restaurants, but because they have less people.
less people. Yeah. Montreal is like good for a lot of food. Like
Montreal
really.
and Toronto, I know the scenes are very different though. The scenes are very different. Like Toronto is definitely a lot more wine bars and a lot more like kind of upscale like small plates, and then Montreal is a lot more like French, like kind of like very fatty, very like rich foods.
Also, in Toronto, maybe the economy is so a lot of kind of high salary people. I guess they afford that.
Well, that's where they have Momofuku. It's my
What is that?
It's Momofuku. It's David Chain's restaurant. I went and ate there in Toronto. It was so good. I died and was like, take my body, leave me here.
Yeah, but Montreal is it's good for the food business, I guess. A lot of But for you, like you're gonna work on your plan and then improve your skills, like the overall knowledge of experience of the like, running kitchen.
Yeah, no, I still have a lot of things to do. I don't have a set plan yet, but I definitely have I've been thinking, and also who knows, because I might continue with the academic route as well.
I guess you think a lot too. You think a lot. That's a good thing for.
What do you mean? I think a lot.
You have a lot of ideas about like social stuff and and even
I
your
hope so. It's my
even
degree.
your it's your degree, everything. That's good thinking. When you think a lot, I think that's a very key element of being running a business or or a kitchen or you kind of in charge of a group.
Community awareness.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. You kind of when you have this kind of thinking, you kind of have first step being a organizer of something, right?
Well, thank you for that.
Yeah, that's great. And then one day you either you own a restaurant or you kind of own a kitchen, like run a kitchen like a chef.
I have no idea what the future has plans for me. Right now, I'm just doing a bit of this and that.
Especially you have the co-op thing. It's not co-op or
it
something.
won't be co-op because co-op is like customer owned.
Okay.
But a collective is
collective,
worker owned.
That's collective, yeah. It's a co-op collective. Both of them very fancy. Very
similar.
Very fancy now. It's like it's.
Well, I think it's good though. I think it's good. I think the more money to the people, the better. But I'm a no good socialist, so.
Really? Socialist, that's not a good word right now. Especially in the United States. Like this, you're socialist?
Well, no one really knows what it means anymore. We like to label everything.
Actually, the same word, socialist, it means so different, It depends on different people.
For sure.
Yeah, that means totally different system or opposing systems.
I know. For me, it just means people first.
Yeah.
For me, it means making sure people have their basic needs met, and that they at least share some of the means of production. You know what I mean? Where it's if I sell this for $50, or if I sell this for what it's worth, I work for what it's worth. I don't work a wage.
But in a small city you came from, you don't have the homeless people, right?
Oh yeah, there's homeless people everywhere.
Really?
Yeah, we have lots of homeless people.
I guess it's gonna be pretty tough on for homeless people in the small places, like in big city like Montreal. Like you have homeless people.
Yes and no, because it's we know in Kitchener the homeless people are much more recognized.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We know their faces. We know who they are. There's it's I haven't seen Bucket Man in a while. He was a person in Kitchener that puts a bucket over his head and hits it. But he's iconic, like in Kitchener, and like people know.
Not
People
so
like
many, right?
there's
Just few, very-
not so many, but it's like it's the same people. And I find like in Montreal, like I know I haven't been here that long, but like
You see the metro station.
I've
everywhere.
seen a couple. Well, I've seen a couple of the same people like in the same spots,
Mhm.
but it's like for the most part, there's just so many that I'm
Yeah.
like, oh my gosh, I don't know. Like, it's hard to be like personal with them. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I had the impression like the kind of smaller cities, they all like I want to find the spot. It have the roof. It's not like this big city. You can sleep inside the metro. Like in Montreal, you see people sleeping in the metro.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's great. Anything you want to add?
I think I'm good.
We finished everything. Actually, I finished everything.
You did, yeah. You carried the team.
Yeah, I kind of cannot help.
That's
I
good though.
kind
That's
of,
good. That's good. For me, it's noodles. Like if there's like
What are you like? Noodle? You like noodles? The ramen?
Yeah.
Ramen?
yeah. Like if there's like a bowl of like ramen noodles or even like pho, I'll be like,
Actually,
okay, maybe a little.
I
bit
do want to
more.
have the survey on that. What is the best ramen restaurant you like in Montreal?
I
best
don't
one,
know
like
any.
the-
I haven't been to a single ramen restaurant in Montreal yet.
Okay.
But I do know the best one that I've been to is Montfuku in
Fuku.
Toronto.
Okay.
It's in Toronto.
But the fireplace, what would you like that one?
I haven't been.
A lot of good ones in Montreal. They're famous.
Where? Like
Just-
Saint Laurent area?
No. Just actually, we are surrounded by those strong, like good restaurants. Like on the
For
left,
me, I'm so scared of
10
going
meters,
out.
5 meters. Like on the left of.
Oh,
the house.
Newen. Newen's good.
Yeah, Newen is
Newen's
been
very
here
good.
for ages.
That's good.
Yeah,
Okay, I'll check them out.
and on
For
the-
me, I'm just so scared. I want to try all these things. But I'm so scared of like because I don't have a lot of money. I'm like ugh, I want to make sure I'm like
you get
go
you
to
know,
the right
yeah,
spot.
no regret. Always the
You know
money.
where is a really good spot, and you probably know it, is Harmony Bakery.
Harmony Bakery.
Harmony Bakery.
Oh, I know.
Yeah,
It's called.
That's my favorite spot. That's my
They have
favorite spot.
so
I
many-
love.
That's
Yes.
why there's just, they
so
have
good.
the Bon
It's so-
Coco. They are the similar.
They have everything.
Yeah,
they
the
have
Coco
everything.
and the Harmony. In the which metro station is that?
It's a Place d'Armes.
Plus, there's the interesting. The Chinese they really good at bakeries.
I know it's so
I
good.
I
though.
guess they put a lot of
So-
fancy stuff inside. Maybe
Not that fancy. Like they have like
They have
barbecue.
more
pork.
variety.
They have barbecue pork. They have like sweet sesame balls. They
Yeah.
have like
Oh, you like
The
that
hot
one?
dogs.
Sesame balls. That's my
Yeah,
favorite.
It's so good.
It's the
like
sticky rice, made of
Yeah.
sticky rice. Yeah, that's
I
sticky.
know it's so like you like, but it's so heavy. You think it's light at first, so you eat like two,
But
and
it's
then you're like,
one.
and then
The
you're
big
like-
four, like right now, it's $2.30. It's too expensive. $2.30, $2.30. I guess.
wow. I don't mind. For me, that's not very expensive.
It's a sticky rice. Sticky rice.
I
thing
know,
is
but
magic.
it's deceptive because
Yeah.
it's like you eat the one, and then you'll be like, oh, I can have another, and then you'll start eating the other, and then you'll be like, ooh, this is
Well, actually, is any in Chinese we call ma tuan,
okay.
but I don't know what's English. It's just sesame.
I don't know. I just call them sesame balls.
That does not explain the sticky rice thing.
No, I know, but they're ball shaped, and they
And
have
with
sesame seeds.
seeds on top.
Yeah,
It's the
they're
another
sweet sesame balls.
Yeah. And then the sticky rice is the really magic. The sticky
Yeah.
rice you can make what is that called? The bamboo leaves, the green bamboo leaves. They wrap the sticky rice. That's
Are you talking about chagios? No, you're not talking about chagios.
it's called 粽子. It's only May 5th every year. They have to eat that. It's the tradition in Chinese.
Okay.
Like it's triangle. It's always triangle. Like the bamboo leaves, the green bamboo leaves wrapping the
I don't think
sticky
I've ever had
rice.
that then.
They just steam it.
I've had a similar thing in Philippines, but it was sticky rice and plantain,
Okay.
and they wrapped it in banana leaf.
Yeah.
And it was like you peel the banana leaf off, and it was like stick, like it was literally like
Yeah.
like the syrup.
Sticky. Yeah.
Yeah.
We always do the what is that? It's what is the I guess it's bamboo. Yeah, bamboo leaves. This white and then wrap it. the sticky rice is always magic. It's crazy. So that thing the boys 230. One time I was really mad because it used to be like 150 or whatever. Like that's before the pandemic. Nothing to do with pandemic. Even before the pandemic, either the Harmony or the Cocoa, they raised the price 230. I really mad. Really mad. It's that. Yeah.
I still like it though. It's so good.
Yeah. For the other cuisine, like what restaurant do you like in Montreal? So if you've been here several months already, you kind of supposed to know some of them. August, only 4 months.
Yeah, only a few months. I really like. Oh, you know what the best spot is? El Gordo's, but not necessarily for the food, but just for like the drinks and atmosphere. El Gordo's. It's like a taco restaurant in like near Atwater. You know where Burgundy Lion is, or Joe Beef? You know where Joe Beef is?
Okay.
It's across the street from Joe Beef. That one's super good. Also, Duke de Lorraine. It's like very classic French. It's like as classic French as you can get.
Jeez, if you talk about French Italian, the name itself, I'm lost already. The name's really.
That place is really good. I really like. Sammy's soup dumpling. Sammy's soup dumpling. That's probably my favorite spot. When I first moved here, I think I went there like 3 times a week, like for like 2 months.
That's
like
crazy.
I would.
That's why that's so successful.
I'm actually supposed to go there this evening with one of my colleagues.
Yeah. That's why that's so successful.
We
used to have 2 dumplings, pork and vegetable dumpling, because of a lot of great dumpling places. We just cut them from our.
No,
that's so good.
You can't compete. Like you can't compete.
They're fresh.
You can't compete.
They do on the spot.
I'm sorry. If you have a grandma in the back, just hand rolling dumplings like to order, you can't beat it. Like there's nothing you can do to beat it.
Exactly. Although the feeling they have different choices, amazing. So,
I know it's so good.
Actually, you end up the right thing. Because for the French, Italian, I really don't know the name. That's why like the Chinese, Koreans, Japanese, I know some of them.
Yeah.
So, I actually end up with the right one, Sammy. Sammy soup dumplings. That's one of the best things to say.
That's the best one.
Great. Yeah, I guess that we can wrap it up.
Yeah, I'm down.
Yeah, great. Anything you want to add? Or are you on the social media? Like
I'm on the social medias, yeah.
Like you have like
I have Insta. That's about it.
I will put your Instagram on the description of this video.
Okay. And it's nothing too exciting, but
great. Thank you, man.
Thank you.
Thank you.